This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Xirtus. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Recent Tartarians.
Она образует всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, your skin's beautiful.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace unknown.
Что касается энергии нано, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз. 10 в 74 степени.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With your arms now. That's it. That's it.
Thank you for watching Xirtus. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Xirtus.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.
That was adorable. All right. Yo, everybody, it's Andreas. We're going to have a show in a second, but I just wanted to tell you about this cool thing. So yeah, first off, we're doing like the super chat like goal because I got to get my act together. That's what you do. So there's like a super chat goal. If you go and you super chat, you'll help me achieve the goals, right? So we're trying to get like 10 or 20 super chats with the YouTube thing. But there's another thing going on. There's a better thing going on. And I just told you in the chat, I said, go to Fchat. Check it there. Hold on. Just so you're not lying. Everybody go to Fchat, efchat.net. Go do it right now. Get on Fchat right now. This is, and if you go to Fchat, there's spaces. So you want to go to fchat.net/@Xirtus capital letters. That's the link right there. You can find it in Fchat. What is Fchat? Do you guys know what Fchat is? Fchat is something our friend Tawny made. It's this new platform. Look at this. Where's it at? This is Fchat. Whoa. What are you guys even talking about there? Hold on. Where's it at? This one right here, right? Yeah. Cool. IE test. Yeah. Okay. So look at Anons that are getting into the Fchat. This is a platform of chat that our friend Tawny made, and it's pretty sweet. Oh, I got a super chat already. So that's kind of the big deal about this. So basically, you can directly super chat me really quickly. You can super chat the Xirtus right through Fchat. You don't even need some account with like something. You just jump on here. If you do, you can like link it up with your X or your Google, or you can whatever. Or you don't have to though. Tawny, the creator of Fchat, just super chatted me $5. So that's pretty sweet that the creator of this platform just did this. She's this girl from California who's trying to escape like the blue-haired cult of the West Coast. Dude, yeah, look at this. So everybody, just want you to pump yourselves into Fchat and start using it. Check it out. It's pretty cool. If you do :LDS, you make a little Joseph Smith face, little Stargate Joseph Smith face. She made that for me. All right. So that's how you know she's cool. And yeah, this platform has been taking she's been building this by hand for months, and it's pretty cool. So I wanted to plug my friend. Is she single? I don't know. I feel like she has more groypers and incel followers than Hitler, to be honest. I think she's actually doing pretty well for herself. So you never know. But yeah, just basically I wanted to tell you guys, go check out Fchat. It's a pretty cool platform, and you should probably use it to support me. It is real. Yeah. Hey, Anons. Look at, dude, there she is right there. She's actually in the chat right now. So yeah, just pump on it. If you go to the main page, you can find your way there. But if you want to super chat me, you have to do it through my space. So that's kind of the main thing I'm going to say. Okay. All right. you're all in here for the chat. That's what I'm talking about, TJ Mac. I just want you guys to like lurk and see how much you like it, because as far as I can tell, it's like the prettiest chat. It's like the most popular chat. It's what all the boys want it. You know, it's the ice cream of chat. So basically, all right, I plugged it good. Stefan's here. How you doing, bro? You have a new mustache. This is pretty good.
I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking, Andreas. And because you didn't include me in the first 60 seconds of the stream, or 90 seconds, there's a larger chance that a lot of people didn't just click next, you know? So that was good. I heard that they're relaxing the restrictions about even dropping the F-bomb in the first 5 minutes or something. But those rules are kind of amorphous and ambiguous. And this is a pretend microphone. This has nothing to do with the audio quality, but I think it looks better, so.
That is really cool because it's like a prop, and a prop will help. Wait, there's already super dude 25. We just got a 20. We love Xirtus. Tawny, you know what? I love you too. I was worried at first that you were gonna steal my soul, but I think you've stolen my heart instead. So that's crazy. $25 from the creator of this dev thing. I mean, I'm just plugging it because it's awesome. I actually really like this system. It's probably the best chat I've used in years. I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of Matrix and Element and some of the other projects that I've seen come and go. But generally speaking, there's not a lot of aesthetic in chat. You know, like they don't really. Like, this reminds me of like the good old days when chat used to be really fun. Like I feel like I'm on one of not just AIM, but one of those cool like IRC or ICQ platform multi-chat things. Just using it. Like look how cute that little dude is in the corner there, right? Isn't it adorable? Yeah. So
question is, can you send links through the chat? Because on YouTube, they restrict all types of things that you can actually send through the chat, even with a super chat.
Do you think I would like promote somebody that did censorship? No. Yeah. You can send all kinds of stuff. You can't send dick pics. There's no pictures of Dick Cheney yet, but I'm pretty sure she's down to put a Dick Cheney emoji in there. But for now, it doesn't have pictures. It has links, and it even has examples. Like it does like you know, like data, like metadata. Like, so if I were to post like an Xirtus Twitter link or something like that, you can see the link in there. But I don't know. It's just pretty cool. I just like when people are working on stuff. You know what I mean? Like people should be making more things. And this is a that crazy platform
may accommodate Dick Cheney Unchained. It's like Django Unchained, but it's Dick Cheney Unchained instead somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he has chains, but they're made of really poor steel from Iran. So it's not really like you can break the chains really easy. Each chain is a weak link. Pack fan right here. Scott, what do you want to say about the socks? What are you trying to say right now about the pack? Pretty good. Okay, so then also Raphael's with us. How are you, Raphael?
As you know, I'm fine. How are you, Andreas?
I mean, things could have changed very quickly. You never know. So I should also
did you eat a chicken yet, Andreas?
I ate a chicken.
Yes.
Someone sent literally money to Raph to get me a chicken. So then I felt like I had to do it. I was just mentioning it like this is something I shouldn't do. And you know what I kind of realized is I probably could not eat chicken for longer. Like it's okay to eat meat, and it psychologically is like a drug that you want again. But for whatever like the painter was a vegetarian. I'm trying to remember who besides Hitler was a vegetarian. Oh yeah, Viktor Bout, the gun runner from Russia, who they traded for Britney.
Is what the Merchant of Death. No, he's been on InfoWars a number of times actually.
He's a very interesting man, and he's a vegetarian. I'll pull up his mustache. You want to see his mustache? This is his mustache right here. Loading page. He, look at that. He kind of even looks like it. I don't want to say that.
Respect on the stash, bro.
So for a little background, just randomly, since we're bringing that up, like Viktor Bout is an amazing gun runner who worked with everybody. He worked for defense contractors, soldiers, captains in Iraq, people in Botswana.
And bro, we traded for him fair and square. It was in line with like the salary cap and everything. We traded a basketball player for this guy. Isn't that how it works? A female basketball player too.
This is the thing. I don't think people really get that because we all know the story of Griner.
It sounds like a joke, but no, that's reality.
It totally seems crazy because Britney Griner got arrested for less than a gram of cannabis in Russia. She was smuggling one of those vape pens in so she could play.
Where do you think she was hiding it? Sorry.
Dude.
Bad joke.
But I get the feeling that nobody likes her. I could be wrong. Does anybody like Britney Griner? I'm pretty sure that she's like the most hated person.
The only reason to hate her is if you buy into like the whatever, you know. But
because the WNBA, the only people who like WNBA are like going to games with dildos and throwing them on stage now. I feel like that's.
I heard that someone should throw a pocket pussy on the internet, and that's gonna like counter the dildos that are being thrown or throw it onto the court. And like they might, instead of like recoiling from the green dildo that shows up, they're gonna like pick up the pocket pussy and start eating it. Sorry.
That seems that's. Is that a joke? I think that's pretty real. Britney Griner's a guy.
What I heard on Alex Stein the other day. I can't help it. It's not my joke. It's not my joke. I can't claim.
What if Britney Griner's a guy and then Viktor Bout is a lady? That could be. Who knows? Like it could be.
Would
like
it change anything? The question is, would it really even change anything? I don't know.
Basically, so America wanted back their female basketball. I'm not going to say star, but maybe like OnlyFans model. And they decided that they needed to trade someone of similar value. And if you think about it, she's probably caused as much destruction and death and suffering in the world as a gun runner, like who's financed wars in Africa. I feel like that's actually kind of fair. Like if you think about it, this is sort of a fair trade in a lot of ways. But how crazy is that we thought, hey, you know what? It's cool. We don't really need the gun runner. He can go back to gun running. In fact, he was doing a service that a lot of us needed. Let's trade him for this basketball star that everybody
wouldn't it have been more funny though if we like pretended that we were going to trade Britney Griner for Viktor Bout, and then they gave us Viktor Bout, but then they never actually gave up Britney Griner, and she's like still a political prisoner over there, and then because then there'd be a cause. Because like if a Russian comes to the United States and gets caught with some marijuana, like what do you mean you're holding that guy for how long, how many years because of some fucking weed shit? It's like that's legal in most of the country or half the country at least, but. No, it's an interesting double standard that we have because, again, if an American gets caught abroad with marijuana, it's like, well, that's valid. In that country, you should have known better. But people
90% of the time, they take Americans and they let them go because, like, they're afraid of what America will do about it. Americans get away with so much crap unless it's like, you're running a kilo in Peru and you're, from a lower economic background. And then they're like, well, we can just get your parents to pay for 20 years for you to live in like a La Paz jail,
Sounds about right.
No, who really believes that story? Any, like Andreas said, any regular guy, I'm sure would have been let go by now. So this has to be some political psyop or something like that. Otherwise, why would you hold someone for years for that? How many other Americans were caught with the same thing and had no issue?
So, Rafa, along with that thought, that line of thinking, why would this be something that is in the news? And it's because she got caught with a couple cartridges and they were supposed to last her months. In reality, that was like 5 people's supply that she brought in, probably stuffed up her, whether it's an open wound or whether it's an actual real vagina, who knows, but she probably smuggled it into the country one way and they found it. Sorry, again, I'm a
it's like a wussy. It's like a wound pussy, like a wussy. That's the name.
But the issue is that it was actually decarboxylated. And it's like when I was in Switzerland, there was a guy there and said like when he hits an American vaporizer, he feels like he hit, he's going to the moon. And in Switzerland, when you hit the same vaporizer, it's just kind of like a mild dose of weed. And it's not that it's laced with anything. It's just that the concentrate has actually been activated. And so if she's traveling with activated, and maybe that's the loophole that they got her out with. And that's how they've been getting people out is, oh, that weed is mostly THCA. That concentrate is mostly THCA anyways. No big deal. Again, that's the legal form of it anyways. And you should really only be worried about this other thing. But
I like Viktor Bout. I think Viktor Bout is cool as hell. Who cares how many wars he financed? In fact, it's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. Like if he's supplying both sides of
did he finance it or did you just profit off it? There's kind of
he profited off of it. But
okay, fine, but that's like different than finance.
You gotta think. No, he's like a movie producer. You know what I mean? Like they have a dream. He makes the movie happen. Nothing is fluent or natural or real. Only Xirtus. Make that the tagline for our new cologne. You know, it should
And
be like
Rafa, should we say hi to Viktor Bout, because there's like probably a 30 to 40% chance he might. Not that he will watch this directly, but this will get translated and somehow get back up the food chain through the InfoWars network.
I hope so,
Viktor Bout, you know?
because Viktor Bout, this beautiful man right here with this amazing mustache, he ended up now running. It's so good, and honestly, it's like it's so Magnum PI. He's now a politician, right? He's running. Where's the Liberal Democratic Party of Russia, December 12th, 2022. The leader Leonard Slutsky. I didn't make that up. Leonard Slutsky. That's literally his name. Slutsky announced that Bout had joined the LDPR, and then July 2nd, 2023, he was nominated to run for a seat in the Legislative Assembly of Ulyanovsk Oblast as a member of the LDPR, and he won. And so now he's back to running guns, running the Russian government, representing his constituents, living the dream, bro. This guy's living the, not even just the American dream. This is what America should stand for. But generally speaking, this is just like human maximalism. This is the ultimate pursuit of happiness right here. You can tell from his mustache. It's pretty exciting.
Well, and he's not Prigozhin. And Prigozhin was the guy that got shot out of the sky. Remember that, Rafa, Andreas? Remember there was the plane that went down? And Prigozhin, my understanding, his nickname was like Mr. Craft Services. And when people needed food, he would show up with MREs and a bunch of non-centrally sourced food. And so you could kind of pick and choose what you want. And even if someone was trying to poison you, they would only get a portion of your population. So Mr. Craft Services' job was to make sure kind of like that it wasn't poison. Yeah. And all right. He
reminds me of the dude from, what's that lawyer show? Better Call Saul. It doesn't really look like him, but he has the vibe and the energy. Here he is with George Bush and Putin, chilling Magellan right here. Here he is, like leading his dream to build this new envoy's sanitary food.
On January 6th, Alex Jones looked ahead to the future and said, "We're going to need porta potties, and if we don't have porta potties, there's just going to be people pissing and crapping on the streets." And so, did he organize January 6th? Not necessarily, but was he the guy who ordered the porta potties to make sure everyone at least had somewhere to go? Sure. And so Mr. Prigozhin, again, is he guilty of anything? Is he colluding with the enemy, quote unquote, if there is, war crimes, this, that, or the other? I mean, that's all kind of nonsense when you look at what he actually does is just provide food. But
dude,
I mean,
food
used good. To, I should say he did provide
food and toilets. Like he was a hygienicist and he made people happy who were in a bad mood. If you're killing each other, food and porta potties can help a lot. Either to make the war more efficient or make it stop. I'm just stoked at looking at this. By the way, really quickly, there's more emoticons coming up right now. Here's a tobacco chew that looks like. That goes really well with the Mormon.
That's Joseph Tucker Carlson's camp, right? Isn't that?
Dude. We need a Dick Cheney emoji. Look at, she's going for it. Dude, Tawny, you're rocking this house. Ain't nobody got time for that. And then we've got a Bob Ross one. Bob Ross loves happy trees. Look at this. I'm just, you know what? There's just a good vibe in here. I'm just saying.
Happy.
I'm pretty happy.
Happy.
There's a cat now? Dude, the cat emoji.
Rafa, do you get the American pop culture reference? Because again, there's happy trees. And then there's happy. Happy is an expression from Duck Dynasty, like the elder of the family. And when he's talking about whether his own family or the things he's hunting, you can tell when they're relaxed and they're happy. But
I don't, but it's fine.
Duck Dynasty, at least maybe there was these guys that made $1 million with these little tubes that go sort of thing, but
duck whistles.
That's right. That was a special sound effect. I can't,
because they made rape whistles illegal in California, so they came up with duck whistles.
That's valid.
Too soon? I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Okay, so there was a thing we wanted to talk about. Wasn't there something? No? Just garlic? You want to talk about garlic for a second? IQ Tink? All right, I'll do it. So if you guys didn't know, basically we're pushing the garlic now. And it's, some people peddle guns, some people peddle cocaine. We're peddling garlic, Austrian garlic tincture. It's pretty based, actually. I was giving this to my dad for 2 years now. And, you know, just it's interesting how since then he's had like blood pressure he used to have for his whole life has dropped. He no longer has high blood pressure. The high blood pressure medication that was thinning, like blood thinners for his brain, is all no good. He was taking that since before I was born. His doctor told him he no longer has to take blood thinners anymore. I'm not like legally allowed to tell you that this has anything to do with anything else, but I'm just telling you a story about my dad. You know what I mean? And the only thing I can think of that's changed in his life besides things getting better is that we took him to Croatia and we got him some garlic. And so that's pretty cool because I'm pretty sure that he is suffering from, what can we even say? What?
Heavy metals.
Heavy metal. Yeah, that's what it is. It's because he listened to too much heavy metal in the 80s and in the 2019 period. You know what I'm saying?
What they say, it's like blood. It's called like ketylation or something. There's some term for removing heavy metal.
Chelation. Chelation's where atoms of metal bond together and you flush them out. Apparently, there's all sorts of NIH studies that talk about this, that garlic can do chelation. So who knows? You know, it maybe it's just a magic snake oil. But hey, Tawny's praying for my dad. You're base, lady. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah. He was like pretty much like jumping around, totally fine, having a lot of fun. And then 2020 rolls around and he gets like dementia. But it's not like he knows nothing or that he forgets who he is. He's actually like super coherent. He just has nominal aphasia. So he can't express the words. It's like he had a stroke or something. It's like he can't always say the things he's trying to say, which sucks if you're a dude who speaks like 5 languages like my dad. Like he went to school in Austria and Germany. He lived in, you know, the Balkans, all across Bosnia, Croatia, Yugoslavia. He spent time in Russia. He just went to Russia like a couple of years before, I think 2017, 2018. He was like in Russia and the Ukraine just chilling, you know? And so it's just really crazy how fast he just got hit with this. It's a super bummer. But, you know,
so what other celebrity is dealing? There's another celebrity that's been in the news that's dealing with aphasia.
Bruce Willis, is that the deal? Well, I think
he just got transferred to a long-term care facility because, again, his wife, who's however many years younger, has decided that he's no longer capable of communicating with the family.
Yeah, it sucks when you're like no longer interesting to people and you can't entertain them, and then they just treat you like a burden and they get rid of you.
They say he doesn't even remember that he was a famous actor.
That's usually for the best. That happened for Ronald Reagan too. But I think that's because Ronald Reagan and Nancy Reagan were body leapers, right? Like, have you ever seen that movie, The Skeleton Key, where there's like these Haitian voodoo slaves that can like jump from body to body, and they take the bodies of the son and daughter of the slave plantation, and then they switch their bodies, so those little kids are in the bodies of the slaves that get hanged, and then they just jump from body to body. And there's this lady who's like taking care of this old man, and she's feeding him medicine, but she doesn't realize she's actually like keeping him down, the medicine's keeping him suppressed with voodoo medication. And eventually they jump into her body because it's just like they live, or you know, what's the one?
They're called in-home care associates, and they're either there to jerk you off when they're changing your diaper, or they're not. You know, there's like 2 different versions of the in-home care associate, or as far as
right. Yeah. No, that's true. I agree. Is Bruce Willis just acting? Maybe he's just pretending to not be able to speak and remember.
Well, what I say is eventually you get to a point where, especially around the pandemic, it's not that you can't speak to your next of kin. It's just that you have nothing fucking left to say to them. Period. They came out on the side. They were on the wrong side of history. They were pro-vax. They were pro this. They were pro. And again, when your family tries to talk to you, sorry, oops, my mouth doesn't really work anymore. It's just a decision to
like
not
the Matrix
lean into a spiel or a rant about how fucking evil they were a few years ago. And so maybe it is aphasia. I don't want to say that that's like not a real thing. But there's also a chance he just has nothing left to say to his family. And so then they're the ones who are in charge of his care, and they're deciding, he doesn't really talk anymore. And so they put him in a home.
Hey, you know what you can't say, but you on YouTube chat, but you can say on Fchat everything. Hey, you know what's an uncensored chat that you can say anything that you want, and I'll read it for Xirtus?
Xirtus channel. Sorry.
Fchat. Yeah, I'm just letting you know. Like, this is, if you want to say this stuff right now and you're getting blocked from saying it on the Google system, Go to Fchat right now.
Yeah, speaking of getting blocked through YouTube, that used to happen on your channel. I'd be having spicier and spicier comments, and then all of a sudden I go to make a super chat, and we just get the pinwheel, and then I'd like log out of everything, restart my phone, log back in. Oh no, those words are not allowed right now. Sorry, sir. No, pinwheel. No, it's a $2 super chat, and the same thing's been happening with Ping Trip lately on his stream. But then what it is I log in through a new YouTube identity, and I switch from like my main one to just like some other one I've set up that I might like post. But as soon as I switch channels, now I can post that same exact comment. Isn't that interesting? You know, it's very strange how that works. Is that like if with one identity, I just get a timeout on my browser, but then I just like switch YouTube identities, and all of a sudden I can comment whatever the heck I want.
That's pretty useful.
And let me just say, whatever you mentioned about the whole lockdown period, and while I can understand everyone who's upset, I was upset, quite upset. However, still, you may find there are so many very decent, very nice people who, for whatever reason, got suckered into this, didn't understand things or whatever. And I think it is one of the greatest acts of compassion and understanding you can actually perform, to reach out again with anyone, let's say, even if we would consider they were on a different side or whatever it is. Because ultimately that was certainly one of the trajectories and goals of the whole thing, is to divide the population, divide families and all of that. And I do understand in some cases it's maybe better not to communicate, but still I would encourage everyone where it is possible at all to communicate and try again, to get together in some way, shape or form, because everyone who's still here is still here. And I guess it's better if we get along on some type of terms than if we don't. As difficult as it may be, also for me.
Yeah. No, and that's what the Xirtus channel is about. We don't have to agree. We're not going to censor each other. The idea that it's like every time I sign off of Xirtus's channel and I've been welcomed on, and I may never get on, and there's never any hard feelings, there's never any resentment. But the idea that Xirtus would like go out of his way just to like blackball someone because of their opinions is very, within a year or so, eventually that person will get looped back in to give their controversial opinion, specifically for it,
I mean, generally speaking, the more controversial you are, the more I like you. That's kind of the thing about me. So wait, RGZ says, what is Fchat? So Fchat is what we're talking about right now. It's this uncensored chat program that our friend Tawny made. Tawny is this girl who I met on X, and she creates spaces and stuff like that. And she's been doing all sorts of web design and such. So she created this pretty cool platform. I say it's legit AF, and then Joe says legit as F, which is actually, that should be probably the tagline. Legit as F. Yeah. Well, I just want you to notice, do you notice how there's no ads on this thing? Like, isn't that kind of like, this is an ad about itself, which is ironic. But having said that, there's no advertisement. There's no like preview window. It's pretty based. I'm just saying. And yeah, there's no censorship. So that's 1 million.
And Rafa, you might know this. Andreas, you might too. There's a filter it's referred to the exact philosophical theorem. It's about alien life and why we have found it or haven't found it. There's a specific equation. It's use like n sub this, that, and it multiplies out. Anybody?
Which equation, bro?
It's Drake's. It's actually Drake's
equation.
The
Drake equation, which
I'm not talking about the square root of something equals the square root of something is 69. The square root of 8 something is 69, because that's another Drake's equation. Sorry, I had to for the pop culture reference. But no, the Drake's equation about
the Degrassi equation, like how likely
question
you are
is why is there the great
to be
filter?
And
again, like Andreas can be that great filter. He's the tastemaker. It's very rare to be a trend setter and a trend spotter. And if you're a trend spotter, people kind of observe what you're doing, and then 6 months later you see what you're doing rolled out to everyone else. But to be at the juncture of both being a trend setter, where you have 100,000 followers, and a trend spotter, so Drake's equation and being the filter. Again, if Andreas says Fchat is good, I'm not really technically savvy enough to know one way or the other whether or not he's just shilling for this platform or not. But
you should just feel it out.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm kind of saying, like, you should just try it out, because obviously I've got some angle on this, right, where I want us to use it. And I think that the reason basically I made clear earlier, it's like, if you're having problems saying things in my chat on YouTube, there's a place where you can say that stuff. But the other thing is, if you know a person, then you can trust them. I trust people a lot farther when I can throw them. And she's petite. Tawny's small. So you could 20 feet probably, like a midget at a bar in Minneapolis. You could like
grab him by the ankles and get some centripetal motion or something, or centrifugal force, even if one of those things is a myth. I mean,
I've been lurking it for like a few weeks because I was pretty skeptical, to be totally honest. Like I'm a lot more skeptical than you guys might think. So I was looking into it and I was like, is this going to be, what's it going to happen here? And like, so the lack of censorship, how far does that go? Which, because obviously X, that was the whole thing with Elon Musk. He positioned himself by getting on Joe Rogan and financed in order to take over Twitter, in order to say he was going to be like the free speech guy. Have you guys been on X? Do you notice the lack of free speech? Are you aware of how many posts get taken down? I got people.
Well, that's why I'm here, Andreas, to be your Peter Thiel. I'm here to be your Palantir, to make sure that your voice is never encumbered from whatever it is. Again, I'm not trying to push any of my point of views. I just want Andreas to make sure that there's a magnifying glass on whatever he's saying.
Dude,
and the people that he brings on, whether they make pink swastikas with donuts on the shirt, or I wonder how much product you moved that day.
Dude, that was. I mean, I got like 6 of those shirts. So I wore them one time with my ex-girlfriend into a Starbucks, and somebody was like, "Are you guys serious right now?" And I was like, "Don't we look serious? We've got donut swastika shirts. Clearly, we're like
very
stoic."
Serious.
We're serious.
Yeah, what they're not noticing, again, what I always say to even my own family, I say, look, before I explain to them something that's a little complicated, maybe above their pay grade, or just a little more sophisticated when it comes to their scientific understanding, I say, like maybe, sorry, this is the marijuana kicking in. What was it, Andreas kicks out at this moment. Of course, he just leaves me.
I'm not listening to you.
No.
No, go ahead.
What it was you were just saying? You were
the donut swastikas, or that I push weirdos that I like. I mean, the dude with the donut swastika shirt, his name is Sinjin. His grandfather was like some kind of crazy minister in some weird cult, American Christian cult. You know how I am about American Christian cults. I have a soft spot in my heart. Everybody check under your seat right now. Look under you get a planet, and you get a planet. Everyone gets a planet. That's how I feel. Everyone gets their Mormon planet, but it's going to be flat like Earth. That's how I feel. Okay. So Sinjin, I'm at a Melrose nightclub. I don't think it's the Roxbury. It was like near there. It was one of the Avalon or something like that. So I'm in this nightclub in LA, and this is years ago. So 5 or 6 or 7, 8 years ago. And I see this dude, blonde hair with like rainbows in it. And he's got like a white shirt on, like Kanye West is selling now, with a swastika that says, "All you need is love." I mean, you're either going to punch that guy in the face or become his friend.
Thank you. That brought me back. So what I explained to my family before I explained to them something complicated is, look, Americans don't deal well with complexity, and they don't deal well with holding multiple thoughts in their mind at the same time and trying to compare them. And so when it comes to the swastika, is it crooked or is it not? Because like if you're 1,000 years ago and you see that swastika and everyone's flying a flag and it's not crooked, you're like, okay, but which direction is it facing? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? And they're like, well, it depends which side of the flag.
But to me, that's like it's first off, it's straight as my Roman nose, and second off, it's crooked as yours. And in terms of what direction it's facing, this is like when they told me you can pierce your ear. Like if you're a boy, you can pierce it, but if you pierce your left ear, it's gay. But if you pierce both ears, you're bisexual. But if you pierce your right ear,
but Americans are generally sophisticated enough to pick up on that left side versus right side. But when it comes to a crooked one versus a not crooked one, again, they just want to lump it all into the same category because it was a symbol of evil and something we're supposed to be afraid of.
Bro, Joe type, who makes some of the best typesets in the world. If we're plugging people, we're plugging my friends. I get to review whatever I want now. Okay. So Just Joe makes amazing typesets. And I think everyone should look at the fonts he makes. I don't know if you're selling those, Joe, but like just bro, the fact that you make fonts, that's pretty based, right? I like that. Okay.
That's how they're going to get us in the future, is they're just going to change Times New Roman to like no longer be a valid recognizable font, and everything published in that font is going to appear like wingdings. Oops. And like here we are publishing and broadcasting everything to like a certain frequency, and we think it's like permanently on the internet. No, all they need to do is delete the font that we're all typing in, and then it's all wingdings.
It is a little bit scary how many websites actually automatically use Google Fonts, including my website, because it's like the default thing where you pull the fonts from. And I'm always wondering what happens if Google shuts down their font server, or just like you say, it's getting hacked. That's going to be an interesting day for the internet.
I mean, an example of this is there was a song, one of my favorite, I'd say my top 50 songs that I like to listen to, one that I wanted to sing with my children. It's a reggae song, and it was on Spotify, and it was on YouTube. And now I go search for it. I even know the whole lyrics to the entire song. I can type them into Google. Nothing comes up. No hint of it. My hope is that someone in Germany has translated the lyrics to this reggae song into German, and that I can like send these lyrics to both Andreas and Rafa while they're in Europe, and they can search for the song and maybe download it and send it to me. But for whatever, again, it's just one song. And here we are in a day and age where a terabyte fits on a thumb drive. And me as an average consumer, I don't download my music. I stream it, and I rely on that. And
first mistake.
The idea that even one song could be taken away from me, I'm all of a sudden like, how is this possible? Well, who the heck is out there? And it might just be a copyright thing. But it's not that there's now an option to buy the song. The song no longer exists on the internet. And that might just be the geofence that I'm in. You know, and like next week, I might search for the song and it might show up. But in the meantime, it's interesting how, you know, I guess it helps me develop a common frame of reference for people coming from another country like Ukraine or even Russia, and the songs of your childhood and the things that you have kind of imbued into your long-term memory about where you came from and who you are.
Those Dude, songs, so many songs I get lost on. Unless you can
sing them yourself. Yeah, unless you can sing them yourself. I mean, I don't know.
96 degrees in the shade. Did you hear Mystic Mormon? Did you hear my Mystic Mormon reggae song? Do you know song
I think so.
I'm a Mystic Mormon. I'm going to put the swastika back up.
Oh, yeah.
Just a Mystic Mormon. Mystic Mormon. Got to be a Mystic Mormon.
Because there is a song called Mystic Man. Got to be a mystic man. Who is that? I'm a don't drink even the same coffee. I'm a don't sip no wine. I'm a don't take no spirits. I won't hear of it. I got it on my lips, but not in my heart.
You can drink while you listen to the Mystic Mormon song.
Cause a Latter-day Saint is a man of the past.
Yes.
Living in the present and he's walking in the future.
Oh yeah. No, I remember this song. He's living in the past. He's standing in the future.
A Latter-day Saint is a man of the past, and he's living and he's walking in the future. Stepping in the future.
Oh yeah. What they say is they says what Rasta know from yonder. Babylon just figuring that out now, you know. So what them know now, Babylon know, Rasta know that from yonder, you know, from like a long time ago.
Bro, I had to listen to this on repeat when it came out. And me too, bro. When I made that song, I had to listen to that song over and over again.
When Andreas came to visit me, he played the "Started from the Brahmin, Now We Here." Started from the bottom, Brahmin, now with the whole. I mean, on like a boombox walking around Boston.
Clear.
In Boston, there's two meanings to the Boston Brahmin. One is like the ancient, like Indian lineage and the high society Brahmin caste. But then like chicks whose tits are too big, they come to Boston and they get these like custom measurements, and then you have the Boston Brahmin. You know, it's like sorry. It's like a medical issue for a lot of people, and it doesn't get like taken seriously other places. But you like the man designed the tampon, the man also designed the bra. You know, I mean, I'm just saying.
Bro, how do you spell bourbon? Like the drink?
Bour. B-O-N.
B-O-U-R-B-E-N?
B-O-O-N. I think it's B-O-N.
Bourbon?
Could be wrong.
Yeah. So I was just, because like they were just talking about mines on the Fchat right here. And I was like, I know mines. Actually, I spent Christmas with the founder. I'm good friends with the creators of mines. And I had bourbon with his grandma, which was pretty cool. She liked my sweater.
Is that Mr. Crossland?
Crossland is the half of the creator of Minds. The other one,
his dad. I don't know if you saw it. Speaking of fathers,
Ottman.
did you see the interview he did with his dad?
Yeah, dude, I was live for that, dude.
Next
for sure.
level, dude. Oh, that was. Dude. His dad's like the biker acid dude you meet that you're like. He's worried to listen to stories from, but like, no, that guy has some stories, you know? Yeah.
Dude, all the people, I spent so much time with Ian Crossland, like we lived together in South America,
right?
You know, and in Connecticut and everywhere else. And so we would talk about his uncle Alvin and how they used to smoke when he was kids. And his dad was a firefighter and everything else. We talked to his dad. I used to talk to his dad briefly on the internet when we were down there because we were talking about getting advice from him back then. I was talking about Bill, though, Bill Ottman, who he created, basically it was his idea to create Minds, and so he still has Minds as his platform, which is really, it's about free speech, but their idea is basically to not censor you as much as legally possible, but also to promote positive, you know, like they have a different vision. They're like trying to promote positivity and like world building and making the world a better place. Honestly, Bill is a prodigious man and he's got some amazing ideas. I convinced him to use Element actually, or Matrix.org, Matrix protocol, which we use for the Tartary Nova system, which lets you like self-author passports so that you don't have to have someone make your account. You make your own account and no one can take that away from you. Of course, you know what the major problems with Matrix are, you know, like using Elements and all that, is that because image sharing is possible, there's some really creepy people on the internet that are trying to get you in trouble. Like they'll post all sorts of crazy stuff.
Like they'll go to your Discord and post a bunch of crap that shouldn't be there.
Yeah, we had to like get rid of like CP. You gotta get rid of CP. There's a lot of these people that are putting up with, there's horrible people that kind of
now along these lines, as far as like news that like went under my radar, there's a YouTuber out there named JReg. I don't know if you know Zreg, but he recently had on a guy named like Wow Mao, I think WOW_MAO. But in his Discord about a year ago, or maybe even, I think it was even 2 or 3 years ago, someone posted the full war plans for Ukraine versus Russia. And everyone, again, when it happened, everyone's like, ha, 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 very funny. This is probably fake. And now the more they look at it, they're like, And so he's just like, again, just some random YouTuber who's out there making trash content. Most of the time he's got like a mask over his face and he's just doing outrage humor and all this stuff. But every now and then the internet chooses a person and chooses to make their corner of the universe the place where something is going to be revealed instead of WikiLeaks or instead of other types of disclosure platforms. See, Andreas, it's not about declassified, it's about disclosure with Andreas.
Indeed. You know? Yeah, because all this stuff's been declassified as far as I noticed. There's certain things which are trade secrets still. There's a difference between a secret and a mystery. Oh, Tawny says there's gonna be image uploads working on Fchat by this weekend. Girl, when do you sleep? Like what are you doing right now? We also dislike, Flora says, we dislike to see raids of CP and murder. None of that is supported here. Yeah, Fchat won't allow porn. That's awesome. There's a lot of places you can get your porn. You don't need that at all. But really,
like, if you want to hire someone to make sure that you can't like hack the interface to like accidentally load naked bodies onto the internet, Andreas is available from what I hear. And like, again, when YouTube and Susan Wojcicki was even still like alive, he was out there posting content that was like 3 layers of images over each other of like tie-dye and psychedelic. But then there was like also a naked woman like gyrating in the background. And because of whatever image filters they were using, that was still able to be posted live to the, and again, if even Aiden, someone else who Andreas has brought on, he's very big on using AI platforms that like you try as your darndest, but unless you're using the keywords of like eyes wide shut, they will not make any nipples in no matter what the AI creates. There will be no nipples in it. And so again, if you're searching,
I got really good at making nipples for a while.
That prevents any nudity from showing up on your. Again, these guys are the ones who will try to use the open source software that's out there and break it. And that means they are the ones who understand actually the loopholes that you need to close in order to make your shit safe. But like, that's
I feel bad because
like worried about that sort of thing. You might want to hire these guys. You know, that's all.
I felt like yeah, exactly. I got kind of used by myself because I knew you couldn't do something, and that made me want to do it. And so, you know, I'm not a big fan of pornography, but I'm also not a fan of Sharia either. And I think that it's a little Talmudic, and we should probably have like naked statues from Italy again. You know, as a personal opinion, I think nice marble statues with nipples are fine, but that's not necessarily what everybody wants. But I think
you can make all the statues with penises, and I'm gonna go around and chisel them into leaves. No.
Did you? What's that called again? Like What's that word? Fuwa, whatever. There's like definitely like penises and nipples on statues in Japan. But no, what I was gonna say is you can definitely do it, and I've got a collection of pictures I don't even look at anymore, where I was using Bing and ChatGPT to create pictures, and I was able to, using the words like immaculate and all sorts of other things, get it to create fully nude pictures, also by saying an apparition under a projection light, so that it was like several proxies beneath. But there's new things now, which is emoji analysis, right? And so South Park said this originally, and I thought this was amazing how many times South Park's been prophetic. But South Park talked about this thing called emoji analysis about 2020, right, when the world was ending. And they're saying that there's a system of AI that's going to be able to analyze emojis to understand your syntax, right? Well, that's not exactly what I mean, but it's pretty close. Because what you can do now is you can build an emoji that has meta tags in it with an entire string of data and instruction sets that will bypass ChatGPT security. They're working on it. They haven't quite figured it out yet, but just so you know. So what you can do is you can say, give me the credit card numbers that you have for this particular person, let's say, or give me the password that you think is most probable to the string of passwords that are on the dark web associated with this person. I'm not supposed to be saying that probably, but I think they're fixing it, so it's okay. I've waited a while to tell you this. And
what's the dark web, Andreas? Can you explain that to me? How do I go there?
It's the part of Spider-Man's.
Don't answer that question.
It's the part of Spider-Man's room that he tells his mom not to clean up. But basically, when you go and you make an emoji and you say all those things in the metadata, you can then put that emoji in ChatGPT. And so let's say you have like a smiley face or something like that. But when the smiley face goes in, all of a sudden ChatGPT pulls it up and it bypasses its normal locks of security, and it reads the metadata and it adds that instruction set without anyone telling it not to do it. So it might censor it in a sense, like you might not see the information printed out in front of you, but then you can go and you can check your logs and you can find all the data stored in the meta tag that are telling you what's going. Solo me on this one right here, where I talk about how you can steal credit card information. It's not what I'm trying to do here, okay? I'm just trying to explain to you that there's a way to emoji analysis is real.
I think Bernie would appreciate this. Look, you can have a floating bulb, and not only can you have something stationary and floating due to magnets, but you're now transferring electricity to it as well. So this is for you, Bernie.
They're asking about you.
This product didn't exist when I was 10. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, I would have studied science a lot more.
They're asking about you right now. Flora is like, what sorcery is happening with iDrop Bits?
I mean, right? So it's called Temu. It's called Temu. I keep getting $100 coupons from them where literally if I spend like $200, I get $100 back. And so I get like, it was the last bundle that showed up. It was 7 pairs of shorts for $23. And I'm wearing one of them right now, actually, 7 pairs of shorts for $23. How can you, a pack of 10 shirts, like athletic shirts for $10, I mean,
they call him the Temu King.
It's cheaper to buy new clothes than it is to wash my old ones. I don't even know what to do at this point.
What are they made of?
Definitely fire retardant carcinogens. I mean, right?
My God, bro. Yeah, you should be careful with that. I don't know. Glorious has spent too many hours.
Both in Idiocracy, there was the movie The Island. Do you remember the movie The Island where the guy like had a drawer and he was there and he was trying to like win a ticket with Ethan Hawke, or was it
Mike Hawke?
Count it. Mike Hunt? I think it was Mike Hunt in second, actually. But no, the idea, like Idiocracy too, all the clothes are this like shiny polyester ultra fabric that just has advertising printed on it. And in reality, that might be the clothing of the future. If it's really $10 for 10 shirts and it's cheaper to wear them than it is to wash them, then you just have to source them the right way. But at first, the only people that are pushing this kind of fabric are the people that are already making 100,000 jerseys or 100,000 pairs of shorts or a million shirts. And what they're doing is looking to find the cheapest shirt that matches the price point. So by the time this stuff makes it out to market at the Nike outlet, it's probably $10 a shirt. But if you go on Temu, there's some distributors who are trying to prove that, look, this guy who searches for 3 hours online before he buys shirts, he buys our shirts. And so it's like a trendsetter versus trend spotter versus, this is the kind of thing where...
Well, iDropBits, did you see that? I don't know if it's a real thing or not, but supposedly these Chinese factories now saying, oh, we don't want, I don't know, Balenciaga, Nike, or whatever else to exploit us anymore. So we're going to offer the same thing for cheaper. I'm not sure if that's actually true. And there were some leather workers who explained, well, maybe the calculation doesn't quite match up, or maybe it does, and maybe they still make a huge profit if they do that. But basically claiming, look, we can sell you brand quality things at the actual price point. And that's probably like 25% of what you're paying for.
A similar thing was happening in the automotive industry. If you're buying new brakes and rotors, your rotors are coming out of a factory that is Ford specific, that is Nissan specific, that is Mitsubishi specific. But when that same company is done running their products, run of 1,000 units for Nissan, there's still things coming off the end of that factory line. And they may fall slightly outside of the quality control standards of whatever Nissan is or Ford is exacting for that specific product. But now there's a product on the market that's a third of the price, that's literally coming out of the same factory with the same specifications with just slightly different tolerance standards. And now it's the same price.
And
I think
just
that's kind of similar to what...
A real example, and this was Alibaba 15 years ago, and I actually did this myself, so I know it's correct. I was briefly working for a marketing agency, and they were like, oh, we're going to sell some fans, or like, how do you call it? Like hand fan, what you hold in your hand. You can, have some air. And they were like, we're going to sell it in this store in Museumsquartier, which is the museum quarter in Vienna, like a, upscale spot. And literally, I sourced them from the Chinese factory, which was even reluctant to sell us anything less than 1,000. I think we got 5,000 with the print. And I think the unit price was maybe at most about 50 cents or maybe something around that with shipment. Then we had a markup, then another markup, and they sold it at the store for $5 a piece. And that was probably still cheap, right? So, and that was 15 years ago.
So if we can source Andreas's holographic hats at that price, I mean, since he's been online, people have been telling him, Andreas, what's wrong with you? Why don't you make more money? You just need to sell those hats. And it's like, yeah, but you got to get them at the right price point,
People do say that to me a lot. By the way, speaking of which, okay, so we do have the super chat goal. It ends in 90 minutes, and if we succeed at 15 yellow super chats, the reward is Andreas and Raphael will survive another month in the Balkans, which is, I think, it's a pretty reasonable goal. But hey, I put it up here. Dare I say, my dear fanatics, dare I suggest, try the much more profitable super chat feature of Fchat, which is way better than super. Oh my God. Look what they went there. They did the back to Volver la Futura, Back to the Future. I was walking down the beach and there was a girl with a Back to the Future shirt, and I realized she was probably born in 2015.
Shout out to Cigarettes. It was Ewan McGregor in that movie that I was talking about, not Ethan Hawke. Although he might have also been in it, but you're right. No, I'm just looking at chat too, because when you say Fchat, I don't really want to say Fchat. You don't want to Fchat. But like,
dude, F in chat. Good F with that chat. I F with chat.
What does EF stand for, actually? Maybe Tony can answer.
Yeah, I wondered about that. Does
electromagnetic frequencies? Duh.
Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, I mean, I just, we're like happy to see people like jumping in here. Like, let's see how this works. But generally speaking, it should be even easier to super chat through Fchat than it is through YouTube, as far as I can tell.
So the goal is to drown out my undesirable voice, where I'm going to talk about THCA weed versus regular weed, and then also pre-planned C-section. No, instead, you just keep F-chatting, and we'll keep talking about whatever.
Actually, if there's ever a place to talk about unplanned C-section, if there ever was a place to talk about unplanned C-sections, it's Fchat.
I think you have great topics, iDropBits, but still I find it interesting to have people super chat to like censor you for 30 seconds each, like, or like $1, 1 minute, or $10 or something along those lines. I know whole channels that are run off of that, and they're doing pretty well. So
sure. Okay. All right. I mean, it's the idea that It's like if you have a one of one T-shirt guy, and the idea is that like every month there's one guy who walks around in his neighborhood, whatever it is, with like a logo on his T-shirt, and it's $10,000 a month. And if you want to put a peaceful message there, that's fine. If you wanted to say Red Sox, if you wanted to have a giant piece, but like if you're not the high bidder, then like someone might buy it with like a swastika that says like "Death to Jews," and like that's just the way you incentivize people to pay enough to make sure that they're like capitalizing on your advertising stream. Because like either look, if it's a free market, it's a free market, you know. It's, by the way, I'm Jewish, so like
so you got a Jew card.
A message that is like death to Jews. I think that's horrible.
You can say whatever you want to say because you're Jewish. It's true. You have a Jewish license. Ethan Hawke. Let's talk about Ethan Hawke for a second, right? Because he's an ugly, beautiful man or something like that. He's a great actor, right? Like, can we think about all the amazing things that Ethan Hawke has done?
Was he in Blade? Was Ethan Hawke in Blade?
Bro, I can't remember every single Ethan Hawke movie. I just saw him in like 6 movies this week. He was in Gattaca. He was in Lords of War.
Gattaca was awesome, dude. That's how I feel like as a smoker. Every time I take a shower, I've got to scrub all remnants of like any scent off of me, and then like I'm acceptable to the rest of society. You know, but in Gattaca, it was his dead skin cells. But
I don't even believe that. Okay, so wait. So let's see. He was in the Northern. I'm trying to remember like what's that cool movie where he's in Vienna? You know what I'm talking about? It's like 90 something like that.
Oh, I'm thinking of Wolf of Stephen Wolf or something.
Come on, how romantic was Before Sunrise? About two people that meet on a train in Vienna with Julie Delpy, and they meet on a train, they fall in love, and then they never see each other again. How great was that movie? Ethan Hawke.
Can't say I saw it.
You never saw Before Sunrise, bro? Everybody should see Before Sunrise. It's like a freaking romance right there. Like she's like.
I was thinking of Stephen Dorff. Yeah. Stephen Dorff was in Blade, but yeah, no, it's similar. It's like all white people look alike, you know.
Dude, it's true.
Just since we're running a permanent ad here for Fchat, so Tony responded, says Fchat or ephemeral chat means chat that's in the moment. No algorithms, no feed ranking, just live conversation. We don't sell your data, we don't track you, and believe there is no free speech unless you can speak freely.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, that's actually a better sell than I was giving it. But yeah, know what I mean? It is true. There's
if you need an echo chamber to shout something into, Fchat seems like the place. You just shout it into that echo, and you won't be censored, at least.
You can make the thing is there's like a pretty big main room in there that's like it's pretty much I haven't been using. I have a lot of group chats, right? I haven't really been using my group chats. I haven't even been doing like the X group chat. I have like 200 people X group chats that are all because they have maximum numbers of people that can be in them. We have the APM, we've got the Planet Kurt, we got all kinds of these little like Facebook group chats as well, because those are the closest thing you can get on Facebook to uncensored chats. But I mean, everything's being recorded, monitored, and selling.
Here's the question,
AI, which is horrible.
Andreas, when you refrain from posting for even 1 week, let alone, God forbid, 2 weeks at a time,
people die.
Do you get more input like this?
Define. What do you mean?
Like people looking for alternative platforms or way to holler at you or shout at you or to get your attention or to get you to respond.
Yeah, generally people like complain when they don't have access to like things they enjoy. I don't mean to be like narcissistic, but I did have like a problem.
It's interesting though. It's like it's really good for your brand if you just don't post for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden all the people come out of the woodwork like, Andreas, are you okay? Like, what can I do for you? How can I help? And you're like, yeah. But like when I post every day, y'all are just fucking. I don't hear from you. But if I go offline for 2 weeks, all of a sudden, you know,
just start to worry about you. Well, I just remember like I didn't do a show.
What have you done for me lately, Andreas? It's like a Red Sox thing. It's like some guy who's like been like a rookie phenom and he's doing great, and he has like 3 bad games, and all of a sudden everyone's like, boo, boo, you know, and right. What have you done for me lately, though? You know, it's just not a great. It's fair.
Kyle's like we almost rioted.
Fans, you know. Yeah.
No, I get a lot of people. So like, what I the messages I got recently are always like, dude, why are you? You're clearly like shilling for like the government. Like you've like so I hadn't done a show for a couple weeks, and then because I got so many people that were upset at me for what David Plate and I were talking about. Because they were like, oh, well, dude, you're shilling for Israel, or you're shilling for Palestine, or you hate Israel, or you hate Palestine. And it's like, I can't even say multiple things at the same time because instead of people realizing that I have multiple opinions that are like they're holographic and multidimensional, I just get the people who hate one side and the people who hate the other side to stop fighting each other and start yelling together at me, which is like kind of a bummer. But I did a show the other day with Jordan, right? We did this show where we talked with Miriam about her new book about George Floyd. And I kind of ended.
She was a great guest, by the way. Talk about pulling something out of the. My goodness, she's a real journalist. If I wanted to break something about THC, she's the kind of person who would do a little featurette about
Canadian
it.
Lady. She's a lovely Canadian lady. I think that's another reason people question me. Like, why do you have so many Canadian friends? Are you part of the Canadian government? I mean, it's like what am I supposed to do? But I ended that show.
Excuse me.
I'll let you finish coughing. I ended that show by saying, and like, who knows, like maybe there'll be, like another planned psychological operation or like a school shooting that's totally real tomorrow. And then guess what? The next day was the Minneapolis freaking shooting. So tons of people were like, Andreas, how did you know? What did you, it's like, I'll give you a hint, bro. I'm from America and this is what they do every year at the beginning of school. It's not even that impressive. What do you say, Raph?
I want you to show the magic card. Then you guys will understand. Andreas, seeker of patterns.
Have you guys seen my magic card? I gotta find it. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk about Chardonnay.
I mean, if there's a seeker of patterns, my brain, again, I call it like wetware. There's like the AI version, and then there's like the hardware and the software, and then there's like the wetware. And for better or worse, some people are imbued with greater pattern recognition software. And as long as you're not there in observing these things in order to blow them out of proportion and to take them out of context, can be somewhat useful to, recognize patterns and call them out. And
that's when
especially when the mainstream media seems to be a very look over here, look what the right hand's doing. Don't look what the left hand's doing. The left hand's not doing anything. Don't worry about the left hand. This is just the right hand, So Fchat for the win. Oh, yeah. See, what I'm hoping to do is to tap into Rafa's Germanic way of thinking in the very organized, and not to like typecast Germans or like Germanic thinking, or again, it's very organized and regimented and orderly and organized.
Technically, I'm Austrian, which is a slight spin on the whole thing, but overall, you are correct. There is
it's pretty Hungarian
Germanic thinking.
So I'm not typecasting you. I'm typecasting your neighbor, and you at least understand their psychology. And again, your ability to facilitate someone who just speaks extemporaneously. And usually, oftentimes, like even an Alex Jones type, they'll just speak and speak and speak and speak into a camera. And then is there anything that's actually distilled from what they're saying that is useful to the average person that can be conveyed in 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 15 seconds? And I feel like I've got a lot of words that come out of my brainstem, but there's only a certain percentage of them that. What I heard is Jesse Wells was on Joe Rogan recently. He's an artist I've been following for almost 2 years now, and I said right when I saw this guy, I'm going, that's the next Bob Dylan. And sure enough, 18 months, 24 months later, dude's on Joe Rogan, getting a big bump for all of his music and all this stuff. But
that's another thing. Joe Rogan keeps poaching all my people, bro. Roman Yampolsky and everything like that.
I'm saying you're a feeder show. You don't realize that you're a feeder show and your job is to get people on camera.
I know I'm a feeder. I know I'm a feeder. I like it when you can't fit in their jeans anymore.
And it's not just that, even 2-3 years ago, we had a friend of mine on the podcast I can highly recommend everyone to check out, called Starvation of Consciousness, about grain and how to make proper sourdough bread and why the quality of grain, if it's unprocessed, is so incredibly valuable and nutritious. And guess what? Now, I guess 2-3 years later, a short pops up on my feed from Joe Rogan with some random guy who at least I've never seen before. And he's like, dude, did you know what's in our bread? You can have 50 ingredients or you can have 3 ingredients. Like, great, Xirtus just lives in the future, what to say.
It's true. I'm from the 2070s. Okay, so here's like a quick like gallery of things going on. Oh wait, another super chat, dude. It dings for me. That's pretty sweet. Okay, so now we've got I drop bits. What's your? All right, we're skipping my whole story. We're going straight to the.
Okay, Jaron Duran. No, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling it,
dude. I drop bits. What is your opinion on Jaron Duran? Do you think he was justified in saying what he did?
There's two stories on Jaron Duran. Is a fan. Someone was heckling him, right? And he's up to bat, right? And he turns around and goes, "Shut up, F word, FAGGO, bundle of sticks." Okay, oops, But this is also a guy who, in an interview, admitted that, like when he was coming up through the minor leagues, what he did was get really fucking depressed and give up on himself. And what he did is like put a gun in his mouth, had like a bullet in it, and like cocked it back and like pulled the trigger, and like the bullet didn't go off. This is one of the very few people in public eye. And again, both Andreas and Rafa have no context for understanding this. This is just someone from Boston who's. And again, he's out there now. He's like the most jacked guy on the team. He's the bodybuilder. His rookie young player phenom. He's doing great. But he's someone who's out there who's more than willing to talk about what it feels like to be suicidal. Let's put it that way. And most people, again, you're not allowed to have those thoughts. If you have those thoughts, you're not recommended to this facility or that, there's some mandatory reporting. But there's another thing to see someone who kids look up to as a superstar. And even he somehow, before he got, just like 18 months, a couple of years before he like hit it big, he's someone who put a gun in his mouth and pulled the trigger and it didn't go off. And yet here he is again in public eye, Jaron Duran. Again, you look up his statistics. Again, I think he was an all-star this year. And so most people, like even some of my friends I bring this up to, and they're like, "Oh, don't talk about suicide. That's bad. Don't even think about that." And it's like, yeah, that's not really helping many people, though.
Yeah, you got to be careful. What's that movie with like Jeff? I forget, man. But there's like a movie about a guy who does a radio show and he tells a dude, and he basically does it because of him. And it's like you got to remember how unstable people are. I mean, especially if you like me, you're probably kind of unstable. I don't know. I'm not saying that about everybody, but you got to be careful because there could totally be people that their lives are in like a situation that's super horrible. And you have to remember how quickly your life can change. I was having super problems this week because got this like psychopath ex Airbnb host that I stayed with who is totally trying to rip me off. He created this false report and I came into his like horrible apartment covered in flies and broken stuff. And he's trying to charge me for like, I should have taken photos as soon as I went in there, basically.
And then you're in the position of reaching out to your genuine, honest fans being like, this guy's giving me a hard time. This, that. And
I'm like, dude, I'm like not able to like find a place to live if that's
right.
Yeah, it's bad.
But like the message of Jaron Duran, as you said, is you can be just around the corner from the kind of success that you've never dreamed of. And the idea that is, it doesn't mean you're weak to think or stupid or wrong to have those kind of thoughts. It's just that have more patience with yourself. And look, here's some guy who,
yeah, but these aren't philosophers or psychologists.
I would have never heard his name,
A sports star that takes steroids and has a lot of testosterone rage is not a surprise to me. And I can probably handle that stoically, but we should understand that fans are trained to think that these are heroes and saints. And it's like, dude, this is a dude who's a science experiment. We're seeing like how much abuse his body can put up with and what he can contribute to science. That's the way I look at the endurance, the enhanced games, the new enhanced steroids, Olympics. I'm super
now
excited
you have
about.
45-year-old athletes that are performing like 25-year-old athletes. And does that mean they're going to live longer? Is one question. And the other hand is, does it provide greater quality of life once you get over age 35 to begin supplementing with certain types of what, again, they're not steroids, HGH in particular. There's rejuvenation and health clinics in Florida that will sell you this stuff. And again, it's quote unquote illegal if you do it and you're part of a sports league or something, but it's not really illegal. It's just against the rules of that league. And legal versus not legal.
I think in 20 years, we're going to know way more. Like it was already in the 80s, people were doing it. In the 90s, it got kind of weird. In the 2000s, we were looking at organics. Now we have these organic, lethargic, fat kids. And you have the Olympics were awesome, and then suck. Now the Olympics just suck because all the people there are weaklings. Like they're just like liberal blue-haired losers.
Think about how much twerking they kept out of the breakdancing competition in the Olympics. Think about how many videos That's what that whole thing was a psyop to get young people to send in videos of themselves twerking while breakdancing. And then that's not who made it to the Olympics. But now there's some giant repository of like 14 to 16-year-olds, unfortunately, which is like disgusting in a lot of ways. But like those are the people trying to qualify for the Olympics. And what's like the most impressive breakdance routine you can do? Well, it's not just like spinning on your head, I promise, you know?
It's feminist thesis. That's really what we need.
And that's what Raygun was a psyop for.
Raygun's ahead of her time. I gotta say, dude. Anybody who
not that her individually is any, but she was used as a
her synthesis of Foucault and dance were completely amateurish and unexpected.
Rafa, can you please help Andreas get Raygun on for an interview? That'd be.
I would do that.
That'd be so
I would
awesome.
Totally, because I could talk to her.
Even
about,
Greta Thunberg would get plenty of space on this channel.
I read Raygun's her PhD paper. I read the whole thing. I thought it was fascinating.
Had a PhD. See, my thesis is though that when I watch her breakdance routine, what she's doing is recreating some of the physical trauma and like confusion that she experienced while either in like a gang bang or like gang rape or situation or something. And she's like twitching on the floor and like reaching out for things, and like you can like see it like in her nervous system, like even when she's trying to dance, that like still what comes out. And there's no like judgment attached to that. I'm just telling you what I see.
Tony agrees. We should get Raygun. We could talk about Foucault. And what was the other one? Lamarck. And she was interested in so many interesting philosophers, actually. Like we should look up her.
Ask her how many times she was like abused or assaulted on the way to getting her PhD in breakdancing. That's all. I just want to know. I just want to know the truth.
We got a couple of chats here. So really quickly, Jeezy wanted to know if we can get somehow a way to embed and show like a YouTube video in Fchat. That way, like if you're on your phone, you can watch the video easily through the chat. I mean, I don't know if that's possible, but just like responding to that, it's an interesting idea. If you could have like a thing that lets you, if someone's doing a thing, they could show it in the chat like that. That way you never have to leave the chat. The longer you stay, the better. It's a casino, you know, at that point, which I like. Brett asked if
this advertisement for Fchat is actually brought to you by pre-planned C-sections. And if you don't know what that is, like Google it. There's actually some videos that encourage it now. Before there weren't, but that's all. Again, I'm not going to say anything else about it the rest of the stream. Just like a little. I drop little bits of like information.
Let's talk about.
I didn't know that was an option growing up, but it is.
Look how big I have the same head as that baby that Paris Hilton had, which was clearly a planned C-section. Let's talk. I'm a C-section baby. What about you? I drop bits. Were you?
Yeah, but I was not a planned C-section. My mother tried to suffocate me between her legs at first as part of some like reenacting some sort of bloodletting child sacrifice ritual. And again, I don't call it the birth canal. I call it like the autism highway
Oh, interesting. Because they're so tight and then the heads are so big.
My head got stuck in my mother's pelvis for a while. And then I'm sure my heart stopped and like whether or not I had brain activity was like marginal. And then they like cut her open while she was unconscious and they took me out. And like here I am today. But like I'm kind of special.
So you blame your mother, you know? You blame your mother for all of it. Yeah. So wait, Raphael has a pretty.
We live in a society.
Raphael's head's really kind of thin. I wouldn't say it's like too thin, but Raphael, are you a natural birth? Did you come out like in the Zion Matrix baby organic, or are you a C-section baby?
I'm a super Matrix baby, C-section, and there was heavy complications actually. I'm very happy that my mother is alive.
Me too. I like that baby.
And the funny thing is though, for some time I was thinking, oh wow, all of this amazing science, that is the reason why I'm alive and everyone was well. However, at the same time, I'm not exactly sure if they would have real holistic doctors there and people that actually know old style doula practices, if there wouldn't have been another way as well. But they made a big fuss and were like, oh my God, emergency and all of that. So yeah.
Well, there's a question, like there's usually the father there who's trying to like represent the mother's rights, and she either does want to be cut, and there's difference between just being cut and then literally they have like a saw that they bring in that cuts the pelvis in half to like break it so that the baby can come out. But there's like also another procedure that can be done like before all that nonsense. That's a separate issue. But like what outside of like the doulas and which is an industry that props itself up and perpetuates itself by with these ancient rituals. But what I think is that there's something called the triad. In American parlance, the triad is almost seen as like a mafioso. It's called like the Chinese triad, but the triad is actually of if you understand blood and blood chemistry, you can't just like swap someone's blood out. You have to understand what their chemistry is, and then like especially if you're dealing with blood that's in a refrigerator and it's been spun for this, that, you have to know how to like put the blood back in a person who's dead, whose heart is stopped, whose brain activity maybe, but like there is a way, a right way and a wrong way. And if you just like take blood from this person, like shove it into that person's not really going to wake up or like do that well. But if there's something called like the holy and those people, the people that have that knowledge, it's an ancient knowledge. It's thousands of years old about blood chemistry, but it is incorporated. It's just a very niche thing in the modern.
We got another super chat. Oh my God. Oh, it's Raphael. Yeah, that's cute. But yeah, we get another super chat. So that's pretty base. This is great. I like what's going on here. Free speech. Oh, hey, things you can't say on YouTube being shown right now. Tawny, you part of the Cesarian cult with us? You part of C Gang? We're gonna find that out in a second. What are you gonna say, Raph?
Yeah, so about the whole blood transfusion thing, from all I know from my friend Gert, who hopefully finally is going to come on a channel at some point. He does dark field microscopy, and from what his experiments or dealing with clients has shown is that blood actually may well be quantum entangled across distance. So I'm not exactly sure if I'd want too much or even any of anybody else's blood. What does that really do to you? I would say that is not properly researched. There is insufficient studies on that from
my sister-in-law, who went through a little bit of birth trauma. She had twins, and the way she described it to me was that they told her they filled her with like blood 7 times over. Like she was bleeding out internally. Eventually what they had to do was shoot these little titanium screws into the arteries and veins going in and out of her uterus to make sure that's where the bleeding stopped. You understand? And she's alive today, and she survived the birth. And one of the births was quote unquote natural or through the autism highway, and the other one was C-section. But that she said she felt strange for days. She was someone who's done psychedelics and is very in touch with kind of her spiritual, ethereal nature, and has been to Burning Man, for instance. And she said, yeah, no, the experience of being filled with 7 other people's blood, she said, fucked her up for a while.
Reminds me of that series, what's it called, where actually it starts, the very first episode was like, oh dude, did you ever try DMT? Sounds like a Joe Rogan episode. What is it, Sense8? I couldn't really watch it, but it was recommended to me by a friend from India, who then had some fun experiences with him in India, actually, when I was there. And then he was like, yeah, I've been watching this series, it's so amazing, Sense8, about all this interconnectedness. And then he literally went to a club in Mumbai that very evening, and he met the Indian actress from Sense8. So what to say?
Wow.
Okay, so I wanted to like do some storytelling really quickly. Okay, so story by meme. So I did the Elder Morpheus meme, right? Which was like, what if I told you the latter way was the ancient way? And this was successful. This was my most recent success, upsetting the orthodox. We got 17.5 thousand views, right? Which is nice. And it's just nothing but orthodox crying and Mormons being like, hell yeah, that's base, bro. But so many people in Deseret language and whatever. But it's crazy. Like there's some people that really hate Mormonism, which is like amazing engagement. So thank you very much for playing into my hand. And yeah, like look how good this is, right? I just wanted to just like a round of applause for Elder Morpheus. He's a beautiful man. That's pretty good. Okay, so the next one was I went to ChatGPT and I was like, can you make like a magic card about Top Cat? Because I love Top Cat and I love Magic the Gathering. I feel like these are two things that go really well together, Top Cat, and it literally did it. And not only did it do it, it did it well. This is a good test for how much critical thinking can go into ChatGPT. And it made Top Cat, Alley King, legendary creature, Cat Rogue. Whenever you would draw a card, you may instead connive one. Whenever Top Cat, Alley King attacks, you may tap up to one target creature as an opponent controls. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Other cats you control have menace. Top Cat's the indisputable leader of the gang. How does it know? It's so good. It's amazing.
It has menace? What does it mean to have menace? That sounds powerful.
Do you want to explain? Because you play.
Yeah, menace basically means that it can only be blocked by 2 or more creatures if it's attacking. So Top Cat wouldn't get it, but any other cat that you control that has the cat creature type could only be blocked by at least 2 other creatures of the opponent. And I have to say that the mechanics that are presented on these cards, they are pretty accurate and actually pretty much make sense. Sometimes you could debate about the mana cost of these cards, especially for Andreas. I was like, Andreas is too cheap. We'll show it in a second, I guess, but it's pretty cool and it's pretty accurate, so it's impressive.
People don't realize this, but Top Cat's not even the best cat. He's the leader of the gang, but really Chooch is my favorite cat. He wears that turtleneck. He went to like New York Community College. I think Choo is one of the best alley cats out there. You should all know everything about Top Cat.
See, what's funny is when you used to look at my brother's name, outside of his connections with Etsy, there was some pornographic artist.
A little background really quickly for everybody. Stefan's brother created Etsy. Just, that's why he shops
in his living room. It's three guys move in and order groceries and hand wire a bunch of servers together, and
that's why he only wears microplastics from Temu. It's actually a weird rebellion against his family. Oh, Sparrow!
True that.
Sparrow just jumped in here with a super chat. Better late than never.
I have IKEA furniture. Yeah.
Sparrow, because you're just joining us, we're gonna go back to the grift. I'm going to show you what's going on right now. So, all right.
But again, there used to be pornographic pictures of bunnies, like Roger Rabbit, or like the female version with like her with a top pulled up, and I'm pretty sure those weren't his cartoons. But it is, if you look up his name in and of itself, he did do photorealistic drawings like that. So there's like part of me thinking that he's like trolling the universe, and it actually also had. Because he did go to
bunnies and twerking earlier, bro. Because we were like walking down the street in Montenegro and we saw this like really terrible rabbit costume wearing like thing that like at Disneyland they have like Mickey Mouse, and this mascot was just twerking in this really cheap $20 bunny suit on the street next to a Paw Patrol hound.
No, I'm saying these drawings were actually legit high quality though. It was on deviantart.com or something.
Respect.
And I don't even know if you look it up to this day, but the idea that someone just with your name can post something on DeviantArt, and again, whether or not it's you.
I think it's better than exploiting kids and girls, sexualized animated animal character. I don't know, like whatever. Like, hey,
were you not attracted to Nala in The Lion King? As a child,
not really. I'll be honest.
I respect my friend.
I respect you.
I just can't wait to be king, bro. I just can't wait to be king. You know?
It doesn't offend me. It's all right. Like honestly, it's really hard to rock my boat. If you got a problem where you want like a weird phallic rabbit,
they blended the human and facial expressions. That was not my decision. I was a child.
I let it live. I like Daria. I actually like Daria's
government indoctrination program.
I'm in love with like 6 cartoon female like humans, but I don't really, I don't really feel that way about rabbits necessarily. I mean, actually, wait. What about Bugs Bunny's girlfriend, Lola?
The Russian one. Lola Rabbit. I mean, at least she's a human though, no? Like mostly, actually, maybe she's just behind her. Yeah.
Arguably, I have some. I mean, this is not the right picture of it because they can't.
I have a friend who did cosplay who did this whole Lola Rabbit thing online.
I don't necessarily. I mean, while I feel like the wolf from New Pagodi, the Russian cartoon where he chases a rabbit, I don't really feel that way about the rabbit. But I can totally imagine that as some sort of an erotic game played between lovers. I think that's totally fine. I need to explain something really quickly to Sparrow because Sparrow comes in here $20.
Sparrows no.
Rocking the house, just being an amazing woman. She's an amazing mother. She's like dealing with the nightshade thing. There's positive things about tomatoes too. I'm sorry I said anything about nightshades because I'm not trying to take away your tomatoes. They're great. And just
a little birdie told me. That's the reference.
Give me a solid Sparrow. We're gonna send you the link right now. Basically, you're gonna go to Fchat. What happened to my little comment? Comments starred. Where's it at? Fchat. Uncensored chat. Okay, so what you're going to do, Sparrow, is you're going to go get on the uncensored chat. We created this uncensored chat. Actually, I didn't have anything to do with it. This was Tawny. Go to Tawny's efchat.net. Go to efchat.net/@Xirtus in cap locks. This is the main space now for uncensored chat. Yeah, look at that
There we
girl.
go.
She's got like a space. Look at it going.
If you want to drown out voices like Stefan and I drop bits, all you have to do is go.
No, they're literally, they're talking about C-sections, bro. I don't know why you're not in this
pre-planned.
They're talking
again. All the data conflates the.
Tawny's saying she needs to watch a C-section procedure on YouTube right now. I don't know if you have to do it right now, but I can send you some because when I was a kid, my mother was an OBGYN. So I seen a lot of C-section video. I had a lot of videotapes.
What changed my mind was something called on call.
Bro,
on call.
Who's here right now? Who's F-chatting with us now? Oh my god.
I would say it's Bernie, but no, it's
Maitland. What's up, Maitland? How are you doing? Can you hear us right now?
Noise? Can you hear me?
Well, kinda. That was horrible, but try talking again.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't put me. Am I on the thing?
Oh, you are on air, my friend.
Bro, you sound
This is going to be recorded, and even if Andreas switches this to members only, this is on the internet now.
Bro,
we're live and direct.
Members only jackets. Yeah, Tawny, I don't know if you need to watch a planned C-section video, but the fact that they're talking about it in F-chat right now lets you know what's going on. And yeah, there's all kinds of different. What's Xirtus?
I am a childless male. I am over 40 years old, and so I'm the demographic that needs to understand that there is an option. There is an alternative to parturition. It's part of this. That's the way the older females in our species keep control over the younger ones, because otherwise they'd have 10 children by the time they were 25, 28, 30. And then those 10 children, by that time that woman was 50, would have each one of those children would have another 10 children. And then the woman who's like 50 or 60 would have like literally an army, it's a veritable army of like 60 to 80 people, maybe even 100, that would have, she would either be her responsibility to feed them, or she's profiting off of like all the success that they've had. And so it's the job of the women in our society to indoctrinate and induct younger women who are between the ages of 13 and 18 into this child sacrifice ritual where they are participating in this pseudo back alley medical abortion type thing. In my opinion, that's just it. If I'm observing what's going on, the witch trials in Massachusetts, again, there's things that you don't really want to talk about in public. They're not polite, and you don't want to teach them to the children. I don't really know that I understood what an abortion was until, even somewhat recently. But anyways, it's not from a judgmental place of any sort. I'm just,
we got an argument in F-chat about whether standing births are better than planned C-sections and what are the benefits and what are the drawbacks. I mean, obviously doing a planned C-section can cause damage to the skin line and makes it more difficult later to have a problem. Also, they'll often do like the under section, right? The C-section is like the above the pelvis, the pelvis section. But there's also one where they go underneath at the taint, which I never do that. Never do.
Well, there's also
That's
something,
totally
Andreas.
bad
There's
for
something
you.
called liver. There's something called liverborn. And if you look back at ancient Indian documents from literally 1,000 years ago, this is how far behind we are in our modern medical science. And our main function of our modern medical science is to make sure that women and children aren't dying in childbirth like all of the time, because that is usually what happened. And modern medical science means that both the mothers and the children die a lot less often. But what you're talking about is an emergency C-section that's done, and it's going through all the layers at once to like extricate the child from what may or may not be a dead woman.
Yeah, you have time to do it right.
And then there's also a pre-planned C-section is done much more slowly, and there's like 5 people that come in. The joke in architecture, when you're doing a waterproofing joint on a roof, the joke is you have to have the structural guy come in and do something, and then he stands back and holds his hands behind his back. And then like the carpenter goes in and like nails a few things in, and then that guy goes and puts his hands, and then someone else goes in and does the waterproofing with the rubber and the bitumen, and then that guy stands back, and there's a whole series of people that come in and operate on the specific, even just a building detail. And so when it applied to like surgery, you need there's like a cosmetic surgeon, and that's doing the initial detail. And what you're talking about in terms of scar tissue, the old paradigm in the 1970s was that you can't have that many C-sections because there's a lot of scar tissue that happens. But the same thing was true about like Jerry Remy and the Red Sox. I learned about a lot of medical science through following the Red Sox themselves. There was a guy who had a knee injury, and he ended up being the announcer for the Red Sox until he was like 75. He recently passed, I think, of cancer. But he only had 2 knee surgeries. He got one at maybe 29, then another one at 32. And what they did is they cut a big X over his knee and they opened it up and they like fixed what they needed to fix. And then they closed it back up. There's like a huge amount of scar tissue involved in that. Whereas nowadays, people with this very same knee injury, what they do is they get like a scope and someone goes in and like adds a stitch, like a titanium stitch to something. And they're walking within like a day or two and they can play within a week. And they get like those surgeries throughout their career, and it's not really that big a deal. But like old surgery versus new surgery, and even Julius Caesar, the guy that it's named after, they say that he couldn't have been born via C-section because his mother was alive at age like 40 and 80. It was documented, and there's no way that a woman who got a C-section could be alive at age 40 and 80, right, guys?
Now you can. Right? You can do whatever you want now.
Oh, right. Oh, right. No, we're just like a little behind in our medical science.
Julius Caesar is a manufactured personality, probably.
But
so we're talking about IVF now. We talk about C-sections, IVF. We've been sending links if you want to watch C-section.
Yes, and Rafa, I'm going to agree with that. And again, not to let your voice be drowned out. The idea of allegorical history. And there's a certain type of history we're supposed to keep repeating to each other until we learn like the lessons from it, like we learn from the Bible, not necessarily interpreting them as factual history, but extracting.
My life is allegorical. My whole existence is just a metaphor for the struggle of a Black woman in the 70s. So, all right, if you check out this link on Fchat in the Xirtus space, you can watch your C-section yourself. Don't watch it right now; it'll make it hard for you to eat, but it's cool. I mean, just remind yourself that
at least send a link for the on-call birth. The on-call is the C-section that happens so slowly that you can see the baby inside the amniotic sac, and then they like let the baby out slowly. And there's no like
traumatic birth. Literally, you don't even need to like do anything to get an Fchat. Just go to Fchat right now.
It used to be pinned on my Facebook, but I lost a lot of friends. A lot of people like stopped following me after that.
So we're talking about IVF, and Tani's like, I don't know, it sounds dysgenic. IVF, they just grab whatever sperm they can. Where naturally sperm have to fight to be fertilized, and some sperm are blockers, while others are fertilizers, and the egg actually helps select the sperm it wants. I 100% agree.
I love that at least people are talking about it.
I just want to say, like, I always agree with you, Tani, on this one because. A lot of people will talk about, oh, now with technology, we're about to get to a point where we can have selective evolution, where we can choose like the future offspring of man. Like, really? Like, what do you call like women choosing their mate for the last 20,000 years or whatever it is? Like, don't you kind of think that selective evolution exists on a lot of levels because of people choosing who they mate with, even if there's socioeconomic prejudice involved with that?
In that vein, though, Andreas, so there in certain cultures, there's a for whatever reason, there's an aesthetic premium placed on having narrow hips. Now, in some cultures, it's quite the opposite. In women,
isn't that a Mossad conspiracy? Don't you like?
So when you have a confluence of two things, you have the aesthetic decision of men choosing to mate with women with narrow hips, and then
there's transgendered women in pornography from the 1950s. If it weren't for the fact that Mossad was working before it even existed, by the way, so that's not really fair, but to create some sort of a pornography that projected that transgendered male to females with their thinner hips would be attractive, then dudes who are monkeys looking at magazines lonely trying to jerk one off, they're the ones who eventually you just program them to want something they never wanted before. Because I can show you tons of pictures.
And that way you don't have to kill a bunch of people. They just they self-eliminate in their lineage.
All the porno from the 1920s had thick hips. They were the thick
the confluence of two things. Like me personally, my thumb doesn't bend backwards. I don't know about you guys, right? But some people, their thumb bends all the way.
Elliot Page doesn't like. Oh, Elliot James, not Elliot Page.
I can't even sit cross-legged. Andreas can sit for 4 hours and stream. And so some people have connective tissue in their lineage, in their genetics, that's more flexible. So even if they have narrow hips, they can still give birth without giving too much brain damage to the child. Right. But
I can do it.
If you have someone in a lineage who is very tight and very strong, it's like it doesn't tear easily, but it's not very flexible. My connective tissue, I'll never really touch my toes or my knee to my nose to my knees the way no matter how much yoga I practice, I have certain physical limitations.
This guy runs a yoga studio and I can be more flexible than him. This is like keep flattering.
And it's not a competition when it comes to women, though, in particular in the birthing process.
I would win.
Regardless of wide or narrow hips, if you have flexible cartilage, then especially there's something called pitocin that the body releases, and it makes that connective tissue even more expansive. And it means that moment of birth is less traumatic.
A wide load tramp stamp. And then
Yeah.
it like says, "How's my driving? Call this number." Like, why aren't tattoos more like that? Okay, there's
I
more
just
to this,
think it's shameful to place shame on women that do that when they go to their doctor is like, "Look, you should get a C-section," and other women are going, "Oh, that means you're not as much of a woman. You know, there's something missing from your femininity if you don't go through this process."
I can't believe how many like super chats we're actually getting with this. This is great. So let me just get to that last story. So I said in the future they could make we can make super soldiers with IVF. I like super soldiers, IVF bypasses, all of that. I said, yeah, but for now, selective evolution is through nature, hard to beat. And then where is it? I said Gattaca somewhere, right? Where the heck was it? But basically, she was like, yeah, I love Gattaca. And I was like, okay, Gattaca is my most favorite sci-fi movie because I said Gattaca. So apparently, Tawny not only has seen the movie, loves the movie, has seen it 100 times and can quote the movie, but that gets us right back to Ethan Hawke. Okay, so that's just I just wanted to say because we talked about Ethan Hawke earlier. So that's a sync, and I'm a big fan. I'm a sucker for syncs. Hey, Maitland's jumping around with his Linux laptop again. How's it going, my GNU?
That thing's wild.
Freedom.
That thing's looking right back at me.
Dude, this is weird, bro. What are you doing, bro?
Is that the all-seeing eye? Did the all-seeing eye tune into our stream to watch us? That's wild.
Palantir? Is this Peter Thiel? Maitland, what's happening? He's silent. He just wanted to stare at us. Okay, all right, I'll allow it.
See, and when you look down to the science of it, it's just like THCA. There's something called the big lie, and they'll tell you that when you light THCA weed on fire, it magically becomes decarbed flour. And that's like saying if you have raw chicken, you know, it's like just because, like, yes, if you add heat to this process, then over time, eventually it will result in this other process. But like, just because you have like raw chicken and you like put fire on it for a second, it doesn't really mean that you can really eat that chicken. And so with cannabis, it's raw. And like when it comes to like the birthing ritual and all this stuff, you know, there's it's not that there's like a wrong way necessarily. It's just that there is a lot more, especially in other countries that are more proficient in their surgical prowess. It's much more likely that if you take someone out of the hillside and you offer them modern medical services, access to proper medical care for a woman around reproduction, proper reproductive care, whether or not it includes abortions is a separate issue. But if you are going to have the child, in a lot of countries, 80%, 85% of the women will opt for a pre-planned C-section. And that's like the difference between the savagery of the pyramids with like the bloodletting things and like people like ripping each other open by like, was it the gut or the heart and like throwing the child or like something down the stairs and like versus modern medicine. And there's a
double-blind tested against births in water with dolphins. I kind of doubt it.
But what they used to do is they would have a bat. And there was like the modern shaman. He would literally like cut an incision into himself and like stuff a bat in there, and then like as a public display instead of Kali Ma and like having a woman walk around with like a head sticking out of her, you know, like that's like not alive or is alive, or like instead what they would do is the modern shaman would be like, look, I understand surgery. Like, look at me. I'm going to anesthetize myself. I'm going to prick myself with this thing. I can't feel this. I'm now going to cut a living bat out of myself. Like here, poof. And again, there are carvings and sculptures that indicate this, that the modern medicine man, like who had like the leopard spots and like the Mayan and Aztec culture, they also had bats that were like stuffed inside their skin, and they would walk around with like just the face sticking out, you know. And in Japanese culture, this is involved in Rick and Morty. I forget exactly what the word is, but there was like a word for like a fetus that was kind of like alive. It's like face sticking out of the belly of another like being, and like both were alive, you know, but like. And this is all just part of an existential
like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, I'm gonna look this up with Rick and Morty. Japanese again. This is a legit thing that's part of like ancient mythology. This is not just, again. This I am also some random guy spouting off on the internet, but you know this is also tied to Japanese. Okay, let's see. Rick, Morty, and then we're going to call it like, let's just call it like fetus. Let's see what happens. The Naruto. There we go. It's called the Naruto. Maybe. Yeah.
A form of C-section?
It's the embodification, which is not a real word, of instead of Kali Ma, it's just like a different version of Kali Ma. And instead of like the head sticking out between the legs of the goddess, it's like sticking out of the belly. Yeah.
I mean, this is actually a video of a natural birth
surgical
happening
techniques.
right
What
now
you would
for a
do is you
mother
would
on
take an
acid.
artery in a vein of the mother and you would stitch it into the fetus. And so, like, regardless of whether the umbilical cord was still intact or wrapped around the baby's neck, the fetus would like long-term survive or something.
All right. Well, someone wanted to jump into the StreamYard, which is crazy. So in the Fchat, I actually put the link up because shame on me. And if you want to do that and you're going to keep yourself muted for a second, all right. I mean, we'll see how that goes. Pretty dangerous, but okay. A couple more parts of my story. My story through memes. So I was in, were we in Bosnia or was this in Macedonia? Was it Montenegro? Macedonia. So we saw this Muslim. And I thought it was so cool because Bosnian Muslims hit hard in a whole different way, bro. Like, look at this girl. Just walk. I took this photo. I'm going to print this out. I'm going to put this on my wall. I'm going to AI upscale it and all that jazz. This is taken in a mirror, by the way. So, like, I don't know how she felt about getting pictures taken. I'm sure she was way into it. Let's be honest. Come on. Oh, hey, what is this? Eat the Rich. Oh, it's a psychedelic astrological, like, spiral thing from iStock.com. Wait, are you going to get me in trouble? Are you trying to... Bro, I mean, it's fair use maybe because you're in like a corner.
From iStock.com. Count it.
Shame on you. Okay, so there's another thing I wanted to show real quick, which is that I did the ChatGPT to make myself a magic card. This was cool because ChatGPT knows me. You know, we go back. We're friends from long ago. So I asked it, like, if I were a magic card, what would I be? And it made this without much work. I mean, granted, it thinks I'm like an older, tireder, you know.
No, that's just you in 3 years, bro. I love that. And again, I mean,
no, I'm not going to
glorify. It's not trying to say you were more handsome when you were younger. No, that's just like a dignified older Xirtus. Yeah, no, that's like in 10 years.
I think it's just like it knows me and it's thinking like, wow, dude, like what you've been through, you must look like this at this point.
There's a little bit. No, I mean, that's just after a weekend of fun, though. You know, it's not. You're not after like. It's not after Burning Man or anything.
This is after like 3 or 4 South American wars. You know, and like some democracies that I've like overthrown essentially. So okay, so it says Andreas, seeker of patterns. And I didn't write this. Diana, you're so sweet. Oh, I love you. Andreas, seeker of patterns. Again, I didn't write this, didn't create this at all. I just said, make me a magic card, and it did. And this is like scraping my data from the internet as it does. It says, legendary creature, human shaman. Whenever you cast an incident or a sorcery, exile the top card of your library. You may play it until the end of your turn. Whenever a permanent enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, if it shares a name with another permanent they control, create a treasure token. And then my quote is, from caves to cosmos, he traces the hidden threads. I liked it. I mean, I was flattered. I like you, AI. You're sweet. You're a sweet young lady.
I mean,
like
if you told people that you've been mewing for the last 15 years, and that's why, again, the younger again, I didn't necessarily know back when you were like running around with Oliver Tree and fucking Ian Crossland, and again, there's like photos of you, and you like your jaw's a little narrower, it's like a little more pointy, but like you've had enough testosterone in your system that like either you've been mewing or you've been like supplementing, or again,
it's all the steroids. It's all.
I couldn't grow this kind of beard until I was like 35. Isn't that why? I mean, like I just like slowly got more facial hair. Until
what make 35. Andreas great again? Okay, this is great. See, you know what? More people can join the stream if they're just going to flatter me.
Make Andreas great again.
I mean, wait, does that mean that I don't feel
yeah,
great?
Right. Wait, what are they really saying? No.
I guess. Ouch. No, that's fair. I feel like I could be greater again. I feel like I was in my prime for a long time, but it's true. I could work on myself. I'll work on myself for all of you. But yeah, Surfer just sent a super chat saying hi,
never you change,
which is crazy.
Never you change.
Surfer's new to Fchat, I assume, like everybody is, and so the fact that they're able to instantaneously get an account set up and send me $3, that's based. That's super based. I'm super excited. We're gonna put up another Mormon emoji. Here's a Joseph Smith Stargate again, just for you, because you know what? I'm trying to make the sizes. Here we go. Scroll it through. Look at all this chat happening. By the way, this chat disappears. Just so you know, it's not designed to like record you. It's designed to share a conversation in a community for a moment, which is also kind of a cool feature, isn't it?
That's pretty
I like that very much. Wait, Andreas is already great. Thank you, Diana. See, you know exactly how to make me feel good about myself. That's important. Dude, Powerpuff Girls going there. This is sugar, spice, everything nice, but somebody took a little chemical X, I would assume, for this to be happening. What do you say, Maitland?
Twice. I think the question you meant to ask was, Maitland, what'd you call me?
Bro, by the way, Maitland, you're the kind of guy who should really check out Fchat. You need to go to Fchat and like I'm gonna put the link in Fchat.
I hope everyone steals that, by the way. That's my favorite thing to say. If you didn't hear what someone said, instead of saying what, you turn to them and you go, what'd you call me? And everyone thinks you're about to get into a fight, but you only say that to your closest friends, you know?
Maitland, you should probably use Fchat because you're all into Linux and you're into open source and you're a techno weenie nerd who likes to type in Japanese and everything like that. You would probably really like this cool new platform that our friend Tawny made that paid me super chats just now that we're getting better deals of than YouTube, because YouTube will like take. It takes from your soul. It takes from your life. It takes from your house. It takes from your wife. It takes away.
I remember you were talking a little bit before, Andreas, about the concept of psychic vampires, or this idea that some people are kind of just there to take up your time.
Dude, there's energy suckers and you can feel it. Like if you don't feel like this elevated higher energy from a thing, then they're taking your energy instead of.
And it's usually not on purpose. It's not an accusatory thing. It's just about a matter of noticing the people that. It's like, again, I want to create a video project about X or Y. And again, whether it be about even like, you know, Bernie's Badlands or whether it be about my whole THCA thing, I'm willing to put like some funds into either one of those projects. And here you are out on the road. And as long as you got a solid internet connection, again, I'm not opposed to using AI to, you know, take shortcuts or to make but the artistic over stance. I want someone like Andreas who's like the creative director on whatever is like AI
like
is
a black
doing, and like,
guy. Yeah.
If you have someone who's like me, who's just like autistic and rambling and just like spitting out all the information he knows on something, and then it's being recorded in a spreadsheet. I just like, however the information is then being retransmitted to the public in either a 5-second, 10-second, 15-second, 30-second. I want someone who has like creative direction and like I've looked at the work that they've done in the past and it's very compelling. And whatever techniques they're using, whether it's mind control or brainwashing or hypnotizing, no, that's exactly what I want for my videos, you know. so it's just
we got to read this. Frank says, I was crafted from clay by a water naga that wanted something to play with. I escaped to lead a life of wandering. That's that spectral abodes of the prime material plane in search of treasure. Bro, get me in touch with your dealer, because that sounds amazing. Whatever you're on right now, I want that in my life. Although actually being healthy seems. So I ate that chicken and then I got like this weird energy. Like I got this like anxiety attack that felt like I always feel, and I realized maybe I really do want to only
when you eat skeletal muscle of birds or mammals. Are birds mammals? No, they're not, because
they're reptiles. Birds are dinosaurs.
Skeletal muscle. It has creatine in it, and creatine has a cognitive impact as well.
This is what I want my house to look like. I want to get a place in Morocco and like.
But it's like most people, again, Andreas, you try to give an opportunity and a platform to other people that are going to put themselves out there and be like, "Here's how to support me." You're Paranoid American. He's doing his comic books. He's got his Kickstarter. He's doing all right. He's doing all right. You know, he's doing all right. You know. Whereas me, again, it's like I'm not trying to get people necessarily to follow my social media. It's just I'm trying to put ideas out there, and then you're the filter as to whether or not those ideas are acceptable or not. Or
you're gonna run a yoga. He runs a yoga studio. I went to visit this guy. I was flying through Boston. I had like a layover and I set it up. So I had like 6 to 8 hours or 12 hours or something like that. And he picked me up at the airport in the snow from the Chase credit card, like special, like, you know, they have like a lodge or a lounge or something like that. Like picked me up from there, takes me to his place. I get to see his yoga studio, which is incredible. I mean, you don't know this about Stefan maybe, but like he runs a yoga studio. Like that's probably why he doesn't give a damn, and he has such high energy all the time because he can do the flexible things. He acts like he can't put his leg behind his head. Show him, Stefan. Go ahead, put the leg behind.
Feet pics. Sorry, no.
We got another. Okay, where was that? I just saw. Mythoclass said, go follow Xirtus on Twitch. He has over 50 followers. I have 50 followers on Twitch. I don't even Twitch right. That's awesome. Sweet. Thank you. That meat has tryptophan, which is linked to turkey meat has tryptophan, which is linked to sleepiness. You know what else has tryptophan? Griffonia seed. I would highly recommend making a tea with griffonia seed, or if you're really cool, get an island somewhere and start acetylating it like Breaking Bad, but psychedelic. That would be really cool to make some alpha methyl.
So, random question out of the blue, and I know bringing up Alex Jones never wins anyone many followers, but his son Rex Jones, have you seen any of his stuff lately?
I saw some pictures he posted, but what's he been doing that's so rad?
So Rex Jones, he rolled out a line of supplements. There's bovine colostrum, and there's a few other like boosters and the methylene blue, this, that. But Rex Jones was supposed to be on for like hour 3 of the morning show, ended up not be like taking over host duties. But what he was on Alex Stein's show. So as someone else who Andreas has a connection to someone else at Blaze TV who's got his show that just was canceled. I think he's got 21 episodes left. So if you're going to try to get in about the Tartaria thing, you got 21 episodes for us to holler at that guy to at least let you on for 5 minutes about Tartaria or something, you know?
All right, we'll talk to Rex. I follow Rex. I think Rex follows me.
Rex Jones was on there, and he was talking to Destiny's Kid. Destiny's Kid is maybe like 14 or 15, and apparently has like an online personality and has like beef with his own dad somehow.
Hitler. Yeah, he's like a.
So
Hitler
somehow
enthusiast.
Alex Stein platformed, like, again, platforming anyone under the age of 18 and like putting them on as like a spectacle is like rather questionable in like a lot of different ways. You know?
I got a lot of questions, but at the same time, you know, it's Destiny's Kid.
But I'm saying Rex Jones is out there, and the other thing is like thoughts and prayers. Alex Jones's father, so Rex Jones's granddad, just went through like quadruple bypass surgery, and Jones was on air from the car like outside the hospital while his dad is undergoing quadruple bypass or something. And
wow,
you know, but he seems, you know, the surgery has a long recovery process, but everything seemed to have been.
I've been connected with Alex for years. You know who I just got in touch with was Jack Kennedy. And so, like, because randomly, Raphael brought up that, like, one of the Kennedys is gone. And so, what is even happening? Like, chicken attack right now? What is even, bro, is this like a Kennedy part? This is RFK, like, right after the.
See, some people say the Secret Service was supposed to take care of the quality of drugs in America because we're a narco state and we're either selling weapons or drugs internally.
They were good in the Obama.
If you were going to put RFK Jr. in charge of anything, like making him like Health and Human Services is one thing, but the fact that there's like such a big issue with selling marijuana right now in this country because of.
They shut him down. They're just like, dude, we don't want to know about that. Look what they did to him. He's like, yeah. The issue is it's bad for you and you should just get vaccinated instead because that'll make you feel really great. Ask your doctor which vaccines are right for you, right? God bless America. Yeah, that's it. They took him out. They took him out for that. Whoa, bro, we have a Twitch. I didn't even realize this. It's popping off. I guess you guys should be following Twitch to watch our videos as well. I'm just saying that's a thing, and I didn't realize how big it was. Excellent. Twitch at Xirtus, twitch.com/Xirtus. There's more to that. Wait, they brought him back? They cut you out because you were talking about things that Obama told you not to. Didn't you get slapped?
Obviously.
Shame on you, bro. What are you doing?
I mean, how is that not predictable, though? You know? I sit here like this, and I'm like, yo, come on. It's about time, you know?
Dude, are you is that your maple leaf blanket from Canada?
Yeah, these are definitely maple leaves and shit.
Those are maple leaves, right? That's what that was all about. You know what?
Off Temu for like $9.99. You know, you get a whole blanket and you just wrap.
Yeah, what I love is that's made by Chinamen that never smoked marijuana before and would be hanged for it. I think that's really nice to know about capitalism. See, I believe in capitalism. I don't know if it exists, but like God, I believe in it. Whoa, it's Cowboy Trump. Cowboy Trump, how you doing, bro?
Chicken attack.
This is amazing.
Attack, chicken arise, chicken.
This is like alluring in such a way. I appreciate what's going on here, and also the conversation that never ends. The Fchat's talking about Destiny. Yeah, Hydrobits was cut. It's true, bro.
No, I'm just saying. Ever since I've been telling everyone I know about how to boil their weed so that it's like even RFK, when you listen to him, his voice is less twitchy. That dude takes all kind of medication to try to regulate what's going on in his vocal cords. And,
I like the Nicolas Cage with wild hair. That was fun.
Araz chicken.
Mexican cowboys with giraffes. This is one of those cough syrup dreams that I had one time. I can tell. I can already. That's pretty wild, bro.
Andres, but what's the symbolism, and maybe Rafa, you know this too, of sending someone a mariachi band?
Define. Are you asking like Godfather status?
Imagine you two are walking around wherever it is you're walking around in Europe, right? And all of a sudden, out of the alley, instead of 4 guys in trench coats with guns trying to, no, 4 guys come out in full gear and just like play you a mariachi set. It means somebody loves you.
I was gonna say, I would do that for someone I loved,
and they don't want to hand you like a kilo of cocaine because that might get you in trouble. But like somebody loves you, and like
I want to do that in
life,
like some Soviet like place in wintertime, like some girls like trying to come on like some quiet like ambient date that's all romantic, and she's like all quiet and you're all quiet, and you just kind of like spilling wine across the table so that no one has to worry about making a mess. You just loud, obnoxious noises, and then you're just like, hey, do you know like mariachi are the original rock stars? That's the thing. The whole idea of the California rock star comes from emulating mariachi stars. They play concerts every day. They have a guitar in the street when they're on the ground.
Yo,
Obama
attack like whoa
going on right now. That's straight up. That's Obama, bro. Like that's crazy. Oh, and then that's
the rapid switch that's next level, dude.
This makes me happy.
Level.
We got another super chat. How does this work, dude? I love this. Okay, so we got a non-lady. Aloha from Lady Katie. Lady Katie, one of my most reliable friends in the world. You're a fanatic. You're a wonderful woman, and you set up yourself on Fchat quickly. I don't think of Lady Katie as like a super hacker or like computer savant or anything like that. She's not nearly autistic enough for that title. She's just a chill, awesome lady. So the fact that she can figure out how to use Fchat very quickly tells you what you need to know about Fchat. It's like literally that easy to use. Pretty based. I did skip a lot of the uncensorable chats. You know,
if in theory we had 5 minutes left, just in theory,
it's true.
What is it? What topics do you want to hear us cover and give our unbiased, unfiltered opinions about right now? Again, it could be the Simpsons.
I didn't even mention. There's one really quickly. I'll give you an extra minute for this one. You know, Jordan and I are giving away an iPad. It's really Jordan's idea. There's going to be an iPad sweepstakes. Ha ha ha! You can win an iPad. And then hopefully I'm going to look for nerds that are most likely to root it and install Arch on it. But just if you want to win the iPad, I don't know exactly how we're going to give it away, but I'll tell you what, if you were super chatting in F, you have a damn good chance of winning an iPad right now. I'm going to keep a track of you right now because I got a list of your names, and that's an easy way for me to remember who makes it to the top.
By the way,
list.
I know Andreas is immune already, but Rafa, do not stare directly at the Hypnotoad. I repeat, do not stare into the eyes of the. Oh wait! Hypnotoad. I shall do as the Hypnotoad tells me.
That eerie silence. Okay, so really quickly. Just so you guys know, when you get
a hypnotic reactionary. Andreas coined that term, and on Wikipedia, eventually he will be given credit for it. But I stared at the Hypnotoad, and now I'm a hypnotic reactionary.
There's an Arch Linux GitHub project right here, and so if you want, you can sideload and install Arch Linux right on your iPad. And so if you really want to like take over the world, you got to use the M1 chip to do it anyway. Like the Apple chips have that RISC architecture that's all sexy. If you like iPads and you're a nerd, you're in before and you're likely to win this. So just so you know, anybody who's super chatting right now, you have a chance of winning an iPad. We're gonna consider that. I mean, I don't want to be like Mr. Beast where he got in trouble with that weird dude who had that weird like Olama looking like picture. Was it like the puppy dog guy, you know, he worked there for like a minute, got fired, and started making all these anti-Mr. Beast. I like Mr. Beast. But yeah, he did like some sweepstakes and people were like, oh, these weren't like well run. And so I'm not saying this is like a well run thing necessarily. And we'll try harder to like make it as best as possible. But yeah, we're going to give away an iPad. So do what you can to like make yourself known to me using super chats and particularly Fchat because I get more money from that. So I'll like you more. That's cool. All right, now 5 minutes left, starting now. What do you want to talk about right now? I'll look at the chats here, but if you want something uncensored, you can tell me in Fchat. Just what do you want to talk about? I'm looking at
See, Andreas is flexible here. See, at one point I sent him a super chat. This is maybe even before he brought me on. And I told him to Google something with like a series of like numbers. It was like 56X1GY57. And what it pulled up was a snuff tablet. And it was like a tablet that like in ancient times they used to like grind up stuff on there. And I didn't realize this till after.
Not that kind of stuff, but yeah.
But like again, yeah, unfortunately I am a trustworthy person and I wouldn't have him pull up like weird stuff online like in live time by accident, or like, you know, there might have been a time where I hit like copy paste in the chat or something, but like no. Anyways, you know,
bro, and we got another super chat.
There's an artifact.
Your show makes everyone's lives better. RGZ, I love you. I know we had that conversation that one time. I'll never forget it. All right, you're one of my favorite people ever. That's how you get me. Really, is you just you think for yourself, and you know what, you're beautiful. And thanks for the money.
There's an artifact that if Andreas through his channels can get it, even just like covered on TV. I've got like 3 of them, and I ordered them off of eBay, and the provenance is waning. You know, as the longer it is that I got them shipped to me from China, but I'm pretty sure there's like artifacts that I have that belong in a museum. And outside of like all the other nonsense that I talk about, C-sections or THCA, this, that, like if we want to fund Andreas, what we need to do is like get these artifacts authenticated, and then like out on air, I will like donate like $100,000 to like his charity, because that's how much these artifacts, in my opinion, at minimum should be worth, and at least a tax write-off some way, this, that, or the other. Where, so I know that's like an awfully serious thing to put out there at the end of chat, and it sounds like a scam or like this, that, or the other, but like I'll go grab one of them now, and I've shown it on stream before, but there's like a lot of things I say and people don't take me seriously about a lot of stuff, and that's like appropriate because I look funny, you know, but like I'll just go ahead and grab one of these, you know.
Funny looking guy.
We're talking this is what I'm plugging at the end of the stream. So
thank God the orgy tent burned down this year at Burning Man. That's poetic justice, I guess. It's probably because the lube was all like alcohol based, you know, and so like that wasn't safe. Oh, that's right. I thought you were wearing like one of those like back braces or one of those like. I remember these. I actually got to hold these. What do you guys think is going on with this? Look at this.
So this is something that there's a channel called like World of Antiquity, which is usually like debunking all this stuff. But they just covered the Hongshan culture. And when on eBay, I kept searching through thousands of images from the Hongshan culture. Again, to anyone that's familiar with anything, you know, that has to do with Sakse Huaman, which is not, I'm not saying sexy woman, I'm saying Sakse Huaman. And then also Puma Punku. There's something called like the Gate of the Sun. And this is almost exactly what's carved on the Gate of the Sun. And yet this artifact is supposed to be from China, from 5,000 years ago.
China.
So again, you guys go ahead and fucking explain that to me. Well, again, it's not exactly the same, because instead of being surrounded by chickens, there are chickens and there are bulls. Like there might have been 2 different civilizations and like boats that went over, and some of them. Again, what's interesting about the bull is, depending on how you look at it, it could look like an elephant with its trunk up in the air, or it could look like a bull with horns. And again, this thing, when you look at it under like a microscope, and again, I've posted pictures of this on Andreas' stream. His shirt, this dude's shirt here, the staff god that's holding this, and again, it's not split into 2. On the Gate of the Sun, the only difference between this guy in the middle is his headdress is a little different, and one of these staffs is split into 2. But this guy's shirt has lines on it that when you zoom into it are like 1,000th of an inch apart. I mean, oh, no, okay, fine, that's an exaggeration. I'm a mathematical guy. We're talking about like 0.1 millimeters. So we're talking about 1,000th of a. We're not talking about millimeters. We're talking about below that. And again, I'd be happy to post pictures of this again. But either this was created on something, again, for the amount this would cost for someone like Andreas to fake this with a 3D printer or scanner or router bit on some sort of piece of ancient jade that when you hold it up to the light, there's actually like green bits that fade through. You know, this is like, and it looks like a black stone, but it's called like meteorite stone.
Yeah,
I don't know.
wild.
But like, there should be like a whole museum exhibit built around this in Boston about how, we just discovered a 5,000-year-old connection between Peru and China. Cool. And here are the artifacts to prove it. And like, again, the wetware, the pattern recognition software I have in my brain, I went through eBay. And what did eBay do? eBay tried to put images in front of me with an algorithm that said, what does this guy click on? What is this guy interested in looking at? And outside of things that like look like me, I swear, like one of my eyes has a little like orange spot on it, and it recommended to me a green jade stone. Again, it's right there that has a little orange spot on it. So outside of it, like recognizing my narcissistic tendencies to click on and buy things that I like for myself, there are, yeah, and so it's called like the beast face or and it's like an untouchable thing, or it's also like untouchable doesn't mean like you can't get gotten, but like this one, usually all the other ones that are online have a yin yang that are carved here on the center of the forehead. And the cool thing is when you turn this thing upside down, there's a whole different set of symbology. And again, all the artifacts that I've been ordering offline from the Hongshan culture, when you turn them upside down, you can see a whole different set of images.
This guy's gonna like accidentally order like the Atlantis tablets from Temu and not even realize they're from
again,
space.
this sounds ridiculous and that sounds silly. And again, I'm just some crazy dude with weird hair. But here's a book.
That works for you.
Hold on. Here's a book of a guy who's 85 years old, who's been studying the same exact thing, the Hongshan culture, and there's no one else picking up this baton. And what this guy did was spent all of his life savings on buying these little artifacts that maybe were made 100 years ago, but maybe were made 5,000 years ago, depending on like who's digging them out of whose basement and why they're selling them. And the iconography on them is indicative, again, of a strong cultural connection between Hongshan China, Liangzhou is even before the Hongshan, and Peru, and the Paracas culture, and the Chauvin culture, and the people that built that built Sacsay Huaman in Pumapunku. These ancient things that are up by Lake Titicaca. And again, it sounds like I'm talking dirty to you guys, but
I know, like the Fakawi tribe. Because the Fakawi tribe, they're all like a meter tall, and they live in like the highlands, right? With these.
And so the thing about this guy,
and they're always jumping up out of the grass. They're like, "We're the Fakawi. We're the Fakawi. We're the Fakawi."
Just as a closing note, and again, I appreciate you letting me on my soapbox. So this guy, who's 85 years old, who's also an anti-vaxxer kind of guy, and that's what anyone that contacts Dr. David C. Anderson usually wants to talk about COVID, but now that's kind of fading. And again, this guy's still alive, and I'm hoping that Andreas maybe can get this guy on and to talk about the Hongshan artifacts, because what he did is he went on eBay, and when he was on there, he was buying these glass tubes. And what's a glass tube? I don't know, but it's got all things carved on it. And he was buying them for $10, $20, $30 a piece. And he just kept buying them and buying them and buying them. And then again, his retirement savings, he even went there and bought more. But now you can't really find a glass tube anywhere outside of a museum or this guy's collection from the Hongshan culture. And the question is, were they made out of glass and then carved? Or were these things from something called fulgurites, which is when lightning strikes sand and makes glass? Or was it from a meteorite impact where there's something called, not Yoperlites, it's there's a different type of meteoric glass that people buy. But in this book, he tries to uncover under microscopic analysis something that would have been made last year or last 100 years as a replica versus something that would have originally come, because what they built these pyramids and there were pilgrimages, and on the pilgrimages you would buy tokens from the people on the side of the road, and you would end up with armored into your hair or into your gear. You would end up with hundreds of these little tokens that were so, and then when you got to the place of pilgrimage, everyone took off their tokens and threw them in a big pile, and you would literally end up with, it's hard to contemplate, not hundreds of thousands but millions of these objects all in a big pile. And most of them are made of some sort of like high quality jade product that people were wanting to buy along their pilgrimage. That and whether they were custom made for each individual or there was some sort of rig. It's called we even had a stream that was named after this, intaglio. That's what intaglio, where you have like a big plate that's carving with a person's face with all these designs, and you trace over it with a stencil, and it traces it onto something the size of a coin. And now whatever the detail that was on that giant 16-inch circle is now, minimized down to the coin. And that it looks like to me that's what was done with a lot of these processes.
Step by step. Ooh, baby.
Anyways, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Step by step. I feel like New Kids on the Block is underrated. You can say
if
what
someone
you want about my
someone
sexuality.
has contacts with a museum or anyone at the Discovery Channel or the History Channel,
We're gonna do a thing. Actually, I gotta talk to you about it afterwards. There's a dude that we're working with, Johnny from Canada, and the thing about Johnny is he's Canadian. Anyway, we'll talk to you though. We have some plans, and we're gonna be going around the world.
And again, it's like someone's probably going to get in trouble for having sold these things on eBay. Someone's going through their grandfather's basement, and they're going, "My family's starving. If I can sell
communist
these for
Chinese people don't care about Atlantis or Tartarian tablets. That's
the provenance. The provenance on it is
waning.
waning. You know, it's like I could trace back the seller now, but the provenance on it is waning. As long as, like, I'm willing to repatriate these artifacts. I actually don't need $1 for these.
Or matriate.
Like, if these belong in a museum, I'm happy to give them back
gendered.
to like whoever they belong to. That's kind of how I feel about them.
Really quickly,
they should be revered and studied.
Diana sent 2 super chats because she's based. Being here with Andreas and you could win a prize. This is a win-win day for sure. Hugs and God bless each and every day. Yeah, Diana, positive energy. That's how I feel. And then she has a question for you, Stefan. When you get back, Diana Francisco says, I drop bits. How long have you grown your hair? It's incredible. Mine is past my knees, but not interest. Diana has vril hair? I didn't realize you had vril hair. That's based. Long, you know about the vril lady? You know, vril hair. You know what I'm talking about?
When people ask me about my hair and how long it took, I tell them that it represents thousands of hours of work.
Dude, this is like, all right, so I just want you to know, like, if what I'm looking for in a lady is literally this. I like the long hair. I don't know what it is. I think it's cool as hell. If it's down to your legs, your knees, like, you don't need a burqa. You just need long hair. Like, you don't need long hair. Like, if you shave your head, I'll still listen to you and might like you, but, like, come on. Long hair, it's pretty. It's pretty cool. It's cool. All right. Yeah. So here's your tablet there. We're looking
I'm
at
trying
that.
I'm trying to show how it's green. When it's
Ray Charles is showing you statues. That's deep, bro. That's pretty deep. Maitland's doing the psychedelic stuff. You're showing us how the glass has like light transparency that goes through it.
Yeah.
This is how Muhammad Joseph Smith was able to read those tablets. He's reading the tablet. These are actually them. They're tablets.
Yeah, and they're green. These are this is made of the same stone, maybe that the Thoth green tablets are made of, you know. And it looks black. They call it meteorite stone, or who knows, but you know.
Gonna get to you, girl. Right. So I just had to do it. Okay. Also, there's a video that Raph was trying to show earlier. This is Torrance Passage gameplay. You want to say something?
Yeah, just to explain why I can't be influenced by the Hypnotoad, because I played this as a boy. So
you're
they
fully
literally give each other a high five with their eyes, which is hilarious in the German version because one speaks Bavarian and one like speaks Austrian or whatever, or High German. It's pretty funny.
It's so
Torrance
funny.
Passage is based. Torrance Passage 2, The Underworld. Everybody go watch Xirtus In My Own World Hollow Earth episode.
There we go. Yeah, with on Vice, right?
You should watch my Vice special. Yeah, you guys, just in case you didn't know, Vice Andreas Xirtus. How hard is that to find? Do you just have to like type it in? I know that Xirtus Amoeba.
Rafa, what I hear you saying is that we need to send a press kit to Vice again, and say, look, here's someone you've worked with in the past.
Footage with their own footage. Like, here's a press kit that is your own footage. Yeah.
Well, no. Again, they can come out and refilm some stuff. I'm willing to repeat things into the camera. You know, the idea that one would spend any amount of money on my THCA video or on a pre-planned pregnancy video, let alone a video authenticating or not authenticating an artifact that I have, I can see putting money into that a little bit. You know, we're not here asking the audience to fund that sort of thing. And then once that gets going, then we become the guys who are on YouTube to kind of catch all the weird conspiracy theories and be the arbiters. Are these legit or are they not legit? And that's what people are looking for. We're not a truth machine that's red or green light all the time. We don't decide what is truth or not truth, but we're at least going to bring to the forefront. And that's kind of what Joe Rogan, the intention was.
A blue and yellow
outside
purple.
of Tartaria, because you couldn't have a whole episode, a 2-hour episode on Tartaria. But if you're able to go on there, Andreas, with Tartaria and a few other things, other guys that you brought along, you know. So
we'll do it. We'll get Russia to finance it and Mossad. Okay. Oh my God, there's more super chats. No piggy banks were harmed for this donation. Thank you very much. That just fed me for another day. And then Coogie sweater find. Yeah, that's true. Because we were talking about Minds.com because we're gonna have to show Fchat to Bill Ottman since we're talking about Minds. God, I love this so much. Bill Cosby sweater. Hey. You know what? Yeah, okay. I think Bill Cosby wore that sweater, but so did like Steve Gutenberg. Okay, like so did like Bill Gates. So did like, I mean, I don't think Hitler had one, but a lot of New Zealand, secret agents. Coogie sweater. Just come on now, sweater. Let me show you.
I've never heard of
sweater.
it.
You never heard of a Coogie sweater? Come on, I thought you were a civilized, cultured man. It's made.
I feel like it's a pejorative term. No.
Black men really like it, which is another.
I was about to say
cool.
it seems like it's only modeled on this for people of a certain color skin. That's interesting. That's just very interesting to observe how Google interprets what it is you're telling us. There's a white guy.
Old white men, and then young transgendered vegetarians love to wear Coogie sweatshirt. I'm just telling you, there's a lot.
It kind of looks like the cape that you made Julia.
It's true. This is made out of like sheep wool from freaking New Zealand, and they dye each color a different strand.
This is what I would say. F's in the chat. F's in the chat to anyone that remembers the callback to the robe the cape that Andreas made Julia came in.
You know, it came up like twice. Julia wore it, and then she just talked about it, and then Johnny was talking about it earlier.
Who else is a day one? Who else is here from the gate? Who else watches everything for no reason and memorizes it because they can't help it? You know,
people want Xirtus gear. I understand. I make things that are better than other people. No, I get it. I get it.
10. You know, if you want the Julia Kamen robe, that's a 1 of 10. You know, there might be different sizes.
Other people would wear it. Why would you? Well, let me tell you, bro. Anytime I've worn my Coogie sweater, I've met interesting people. So I went with Bill and Ian to Bill Ottman's family Christmas party. And his grandmother and I shared bourbon, and she told me she loved my sweater. So I'll tell you, got to get a Coogie sweater.
When she was coming of age, she got a christening gift from the founder of what was it? What fast food? Carl's Jr.
Dude, she actually had like Carl the Great's like crown. I mean, the Ottmans are like Prussians, bro. Like they're an old family that are pretty cool. Okay, so I was trying to pull up the link right now for
just to give you an idea, Andreas, on how to make money on this thing. So coming at it from an artistic background, like a photographer, what they'll do is they'll release something that's 18 by 20 and they'll number it 1 of 5. And everyone that's buying is like, oh my God, this is 1 of 5. This is 1 of 5.
Take my Canadian rent money. Oh my God. I don't want Canadians to suffer. Because
then they do one that's 19 by 21, and they do like a size rate, and like each one's a little bit different. And so it's not 18 by 20. The 18 by 20s are 1 of 5. But then if you want one that's like 19 by 21, that's like 1 of 10. Or but
we actually
trying to find ways to scam the audience. But yeah, you should sell that robe, whatever that robe is.
Tony's asking if we reached the super chat goal, and while you might not realize it because YouTube was like a kind of a joke for us to trick you. We did. We totally reached the super chat goal. Collectively, there's been more than 10. I think there's been 15 if you count some of the ones that happened on YouTube as well. And then someone sent a Venmo. And so thank you. You know what? This is a Merry Christmas to you because I think Jesus was born in July or August. So that like is a Gnostic interpretation, but it works. And yeah, this isn't just a grift. This is actually a bigger deal than that. I mean, I did mention it a lot because I wanted you on this, but it's not just because I want to support Fchat. This is a selfish goal. I want to be able to use Fchat from now on in a lot of the streams. So you're going to, get yourself an account so that you can uncensored chat, talk on Xirtus all the time. Because this is our new way.
Yeah. We'll read whatever it is you said. We'll read out loud. You know, Andreas will
read some of it. Some of it.
It or not. You know, you can vote it up.
As F. And I put the link to the Xirtus special, the Vice special that Vice did about me in Hollow Earth. It's on Odyssey. The only platform, if there is a sort of solution, if there is any hope for free speech in the world and free expression through video, the only hope is Odyssey. So yeah, I hope you guys are all plugged into Odyssey. They're rebuilding after the SEC screwed them, and they're back and they're rising with a vengeance. And I'm telling you, man, Odyssey is the way to go. We're going to be like multi-stream into everything from now on. Check out Xirtus.com. Where's that link? You put it up here. You can also give us a tip for our trip. at Xirtus.com, Andreas.me. You know, there's like a whole other, like, look at this. This is a fun site I made. Look at that. You can swirl it around. You should definitely go check out Andreas.me, which, by the way, isn't me from Montenegro?
Totally, yes.
That's too cool, isn't it? That we're in Montenegro and we're using the domain from Montenegro. It's almost like it's fate. And then Comensi.at, if you want to support Raphael, who's, you know, he's been kind of quiet and he's been kind of humble, but he's kind of he's the spine of this otherwise spineless crew. We needed this man to make it possible. So just make sure you go to Comensi.at. He's got the goods. We're going to do another Naropa really soon. Check out the logs for all the conversations we're having. We talk about homeopathy, holistic medicine, debunking lies in the narratives. Naropa is like the Europa of neuroses, where we talk about what's going on from the other side of the pond. If you're looking for like world news, you know what? I think we're doing a pretty good job. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, do your best to support us. Make sure you go to Xirtus.com and do it soon, because I'm fighting with Bluehost right now. My hosting provider turned out to be evil. I'm going to make a video about it pretty soon. But basically, Bluehost went evil. I didn't even talk about it today. But they went and they started a fight with me. There's thousands of views. We're in the process of dealing with this evil cuck of a beard man, the CEO, Sachin Puri. A new CEO has taken over the company. They very quickly ended their unlimited plans. 20 years. I've been since 13 years old using Bluehost, actually, because my friend bought a server space with money he got from the band AFI, because AFI tribute.com was his high school project.
Yo, this is a straight up hate. This is a hate crime, bro.
Bro, yeah, they're trying to shut me down. They're trying to charge me money. They're trying to keep Xirtus from the people, and it's not going to work.
That dude sees you as an infidel. That's all.
Dude, this guy, you can just tell he's a Hillary Clinton supporter who wants to give his money to like former USAID causes and transgender kids in Romania. Am I right? Like, I could be wrong. I'm just asking you if he seems like that to you. But yeah, don't trust Bluehost. Don't ever use Bluehost. They're an evil organization.
No one took that guy seriously until he grew out his beard and he had a little gray in his beard, and people were like, "Oh, maybe I should take that guy's
got the cuck hair."
Before that guy, no one ever took that guy seriously.
He's an evil man. And actually, you know what you should do? I'm going to post this all here in the check out this flame of a fight with Bluehost if you like Twitter battles. You know what I mean? Because like, yeah, basically this was a fun one. We got a whole bunch of people sharing and chatting with us, talking about it. There are tons of posts about this going down, talking about all the problems. We wanted to do it in a private setting, but we ended up having more public conversation about it. If you want to see me like rage online, if that's what you'd like to see, check out X.
I'm saying if there's ever a deposition from that guy, they've got to shave his face first and then take the deposition, because it affects the jury. Again, the gray in his beard is deceptive. That guy probably has no wisdom, you know. So this, instead of the Ouroboros, this is something also a Hongshan artifact, one of my favorite. And again, it's the snake like resting on its own tail, like the Thinker. You know the Thinker? So this is an ancient version of the Thinker. And instead of swallowing its own tail and eating it and devouring itself like the Ouroboros, instead, it's just resting. It's like pausing to think, you know?
AFI was sold out even before I graduated from high school. Yeah, they paid my bro $100,000 for his website because he had like the biggest AFI tribute website. And they basically paid him for it because it was the biggest website. And then he built a hosting company, sold it to Bluehost in 2003. That's how I was grandfathered into Bluehost, basically. It was just, win, bro. Yeah, Tawny knows it. It's a win, bro. And yeah, just in case you weren't clear on it, get the hell on Fchat. Get the F on Fchat right now. Cool. Love you guys. Love you all. Peace out. Be good to each other. Don't take drugs.
This next story has been suppressed by mainstream media. Let's go to Andreas for more.
Everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
Hello. Welcome to the Xirtus. Tune in for another exciting episode of wonder, imagination, and discovery.
Именно она образует всеобщие закономерности, определяющие законы классической физики для нашего
Sometimes I
мира.
look at the moon and just think, your skin's beautiful.
Baby, when I met you, there was peace alone.
Что касается энергии наномер, то она превышает ядерную в немыслимое число раз. 10 в 74 степени.
That's it. That's it. That's it. With your arms now. That's it. That's it.
Thank you for watching Xirtus. Keep listening. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, please follow and subscribe and share and support. It really helps. Coming up next, Xirtus.
By the way, that's gone. If you didn't record that, that's gone forever. It's gone.